where two enter. One leaves champion, and one leaves beaten, battered, and bruised. Today we bring back the reigning champion, EvilWeevil 666. He's so evil, I'm tempted to add a few more sixes to his name. If you don't know who he is, then you didn't watch the Forge last week. He beat the Zerandals last week. Not Zerandals. We bring back the Zerandals. And he's ready to come back and win another game. Apparently, so evil. We have some sort of feedback going on, so hold on. There we go. Okay, continuing the introductions. And challenging EvilWeevil today is Hans, or DrHoeh, or whatever you know him as, or as my daughter calls him, the slowest player in Solforge history. But with that slowness comes deep, penetrating thought that usually leads him to victory. So we will see today who is victorious, the evil one or the deep thinker. Let's take a look at their decks. First, we have the majestic Hans here. He kind of looks like he should be on the cover of a romance novel with this picture. And in fact, I believe I have this romance novel. It's called Germans in Love. Alright, so let's take a look at this deck, Jake. It looks to me like this is a pretty standard, strong AU deck. Very similar to what I've been running lately with AU. You've got your Gargoyle, you've got your Sentinel. You got a little Vault Blockade sort of spiced in there so that the Aegis Knight can jump down and punk somebody. Do you see anything that jumps out at you here, Jake?
I mean, the biggest change for me is that not everybody plays with Aegis Knight and the Vault Blockades.
Yep, that's true. That's kind of a new wrinkle that people have been using. I would say for me the biggest surprise is no Matrix Warden. As soon as I go Gargoyle, Sentinel, I at least start thinking to myself, Matrix Warden would be pretty good here. Like, if I'm going to get buff, getting it in the form of a robot is pretty useful. Admittedly, that 3 health means he's usually dead anyway, but every now and then you can sneak in that extra Sentinel blowout. Another wrinkle is Battle Tech. I've often been seeing when people run Aegis Knight, they run Nexus Tech, right? And so at least to me, it seems like that's sort of a package that goes together rather than Battle Tech. Also, he's got the Strategist here, which I took out of my build and subbed in stuff like Gemhide Bashers for a little removal. So it looks to me like Hans has no sort of direct removal in the form of like a Botanimate or a Gemhide Basher, but he has a lot of pump move removal, and he also has that Aegis Knight blowout capabilities with a number of guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, he's actually running the full 3 copies of Warmonger mod, and he's also got 2 jetpacks instead of the 1 that people often put in. So, you know, yes, no Bashers or nothing like that, but between the set of Aegis Knights and all those other removal cards, you know, he's going to do all right.
Yep, I agree. I think it's interesting to do 3 Warmonger mod. More and more, that's becoming my favorite Aloyan card. It's just so flexible. It's a removal card. It's a spike damage card. It's whatever you want it to be. It'd probably buy you a drink if you really need one. Okay, so let's move on to our second player, EvilWeevil. And if you look carefully, you might see this is a pretty darn similar list to what Hans is playing here.
Well, there's some key differences.
There are. So why don't you go ahead and talk about those, Jake?
Well, the main one is that this one is evil. Yeah.
What's that?
This one is evil. This version.
This list is the evil version?
That one was a good list. This is the evil version.
Okay.
Yeah.
So EvilWeevil has gone with more of the Nexus Tech Aegis Knight package, which I think I would consider to be more of the norm. He has a single Gemhide Basher, a single Botanimate, a single Justicar. It looks to me like EvilWeevil has some ideas of what he's built this deck to be able to beat. And my guess is it's that Deathweaver Lotus deck, which can be a real pain. So he's got a Justicar to sort of slow it down. He's got a Basher to maybe jump in and immediately take care of those pesky Deathweavers, stuff like that. And he has the Matrix Warden. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of one-ofs for me, I prefer to play, more consistent 3-ofs if possible. But, in the style of shuffling game that this is, 1-ofs can work effectively. But it is kind of a matter of, well, say the Justicar, he only has one. He needs to draw it, usually early against those decks that it's aimed against.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Justicar is it's a pain. Like, I've heard a lot of people say, like, either run 3 or none. And I kind of disagree with that. I like 2 as my number because I feel like when I'm playing against a Deathweaver deck, you throw a Justicar down and it messes up their plans for a turn. It's not going to be a long-term solution. They're going to kill it next turn. But you get one turn where they're like, oh no, I was going to get a triple Lotus here. And now my 4/3 Lotus is now a -1/3 Lotus. Great. So just even getting that one moment can be useful. So it looks to me like EvilWeevil's deck is built a little bit better, perhaps, for a wider range of decks, where I would say Hans's deck might be a little bit better for the mirror. What do you think about that?
I think that's definitely possible as an observation. I think Hans's list is more focused on doing one thing proactively instead of sort of being more of a toolbox approach to it. I mean, at the same time, they're both very similar lists. They're built around the same shell.
Right.
And, anything can happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated whenever I see a mirror like this. I feel like NT mirrors are very luck-oriented. I often feel like AU mirrors are skill-oriented. So I'm going to be very interested to see what direction this game goes. Now, obviously, if one of them just goes, Gargoyle, Gargoyle, Gargoyle every turn, all game, that's not exactly a skill mirror. That's not usually how it works out. All right, let's bring these competitors in and get an idea of what they were thinking as they put their decks together. So first, we have Hans, Destroyer of All. I can't use my hat for this. There we go. That goes back. All right, Hans. First of all, your music is terrifying. Second of all, welcome to the show.
That's good. That's
You already
the
got
reason
the
I
host
chose it.
terrified. All right, so what caused you to bring AU today? I haven't really seen you on AU lately.
Yeah, I'm always open to like every kind of deck, and so I clearly didn't want to bring the deck I ran in the tournament last week because I was expecting if I would bring that, I would expect whoever I was facing to have hate. So I wanted to bring something else that is not relying on something that gets hated by Justicar.
Gotcha.
So I really enjoyed playing the green-white in the past. So I took it for a new spin with a little change. And actually, I was challenged to break the wall blockade and get it banned. Yeah, there was this. I was offering people to, for a little donation, get any card they want banned in the game. And
interesting.
So that is what is going on there. So here's the wall blockade.
Wow.
Soon to be banned.
Okay. I'm not sure that that's going to happen. I don't mean to burst your bubble, Hans. I don't feel like Vault Blockade is going to get banned. Now, if you had chosen Gargoyle, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you can make a big enough push for that. What's interesting is that this list is actually within just a couple of cards of a list I've been running as like my main list right now, my main competitive list, and it also has Vault Blockade in it. So I think it feels like Vault Blockade has finally gotten his due for a very brief run. I don't know how long it'll last in my deck, and I don't know if for you felt like it was a really good choice, or if you thought it was more of a cutesy joke choice.
Yeah, we will see.
All right, and what do you think about the fact that you're playing a pretty close mirror matchup? Do you think that favors the more skillful player, or do you feel like the mirror matches usually end up coming down to who draws better?
I mean, it can be both, depending on how well both players know what is probably a preferable path to play. And I think I have a guess what are the decisive things that are going to happen, and that still doesn't mean you get to draw those and get to draw those in the right spots and stuff like that. So it still can go whatever way. Like.
Okay. It looks like a number of people are disturbed by your photo, that it looks like you're staring at them. I'm just wondering, are you trying to seduce somebody or murder someone in that photo? Or both. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it depends on your sex.
Okay, good to know. So Hans, what do you think your odds are today? You think you're going to take this down?
Of course, that's what I do.
Okay, that's what I thought you'd say. All right, well, let's bring in your very, very evil competitor. We have EvilWeevil, and he is less frightening. It's more friendly. You can enjoy it, you know. We don't have to be scared. I'm still a little scared from Hans' music. All right. So, EvilWeevil, I know you murdered the regular Weevil. So what's happening?
I don't know.
All right. That's some pretty insightful banter. So, taking a look at your deck list, it looks pretty normal, but it looks like you've sprinkled in some spicy elements. So why'd you sprinkle in a Botanimate, a Justicar? What's going on there?
Justicar is just for the Tarsus decks. I mean, that's relatively straightforward. Botanimate is just like a catch-all answer. I just felt like I needed that one removal spell. It's actually decent in the mirror. I think you can kill things like Out of Control Teesaur. And it's also good right now, I think, because there's a lot of sort of in reaction to the like Lotus UN decks. There's a lot of Devourer and people trying to get big creatures because those decks don't have removal. So I wanted to give at least one sort of out against like an underlevel Devourer or something.
Gotcha. Makes sense. And what do you think about my thoughts that Aegis Knight Battle Tech or Aegis Knight Nexus Tech, that Aegis Knight Nexus Tech seems to me to be the more appropriate fit there?
I love Nexus Tech. I would not consider cutting it. I mean, Battle Tech's not bad, but you can't run them both, and I think Nexus Tech is really, really good. It's really good against Yetis. And it makes, one of the underrated things about it is it makes your Aegis Knights actually a threat. Like they can often, if they have 3 damage on level 1, they can often kill something for free.
Say, an Ice Mage?
Exactly. So
Right.
I really like Nexus Tech in this deck.
Fair enough. And you guys are both running Vault Blockade, and if you can both showcase it and exploit it, maybe you can make Hans's dreams come true of getting it banned.
We'll see. I'll try.
All right, EvilWeevil, what do you think your odds are today in this mirror matchup? And I guess let me backtrack. Do you think this mirror favors the more skillful player or the more draw-heavy player?
It's a little of both. I think that, I mean, I've been playing this deck a lot, and I feel like I know what I'm doing, and Hans is obviously a great player, so he knows what he's doing, so you're going to see most people sort of knowing what they want to prioritize in this matchup. So you're not going to get, like, he's not going to be prioritizing random cards that I think he shouldn't be, and I'm not just going to run over him like that. So draws will play maybe more of a role than they would between sort of a skilled player and a like medium level player or something. But it's also, I mean, the slight differences in the decks, I think, make a difference. Battle Tech and Strategist means he's much more pushing for damage. So I think you'll see a little bit of that dynamic as well.
Okay. Sounds good. And how many games do you think you're going to win today? Well, let me rephrase that. How many games is Hans going to win? 0? You're going to give him one. Are you going to give him one, EvilWeevil?
Yeah, I'll give him one.
Okay. So you heard it here. EvilWeevil is going to give Hans one game. That seems fair.
Nice guy.
Seems fair. Yeah, you're a good guy. All right, well, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Oh, actually, before we get it started, Jake, we haven't made our predictions. Man, that's crazy. So,
Yeah, well, that's a tense subject these days on the Forge. So I want to hear from you first. What is your prediction this week? Because you're sort of the out there man who last week hit it big.
Hit the jackpot. I'm gonna have to go against our reigning champ, and I'm gonna pick Hans. I think Hans is a top level player whose deck is a little bit more tailored towards the mirror, whereas I feel like EvilWeevil is tailored slightly more towards a wider field. And so in a tournament, I might be favoring EvilWeevil's deck, but I think in this mirror, I favor Hans's deck. Now, to be perfectly honest, it's not going to come down to that very much because you draw 5 cards. So, it's unlikely Evil gets the Justicar as the one card he is forced into playing at that one bad moment. But I just feel like it gives Hans the slight edge in deck construction for this particular head-to-head matchup. What do you think?
Well, I have a conflict because I have certain rules in Solforge that I follow. And, the primary ones of those is I never bet against Randall's, and I never bet against Hans, and I never bet against myself.
Well, that costs you a lot of money.
But I have one other rule that I think trumps them all, and that's that I always bet against Tiny Grimes.
Whoa.
So in this case, I think I have to take EvilWeevil just for the sake of, beating you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, it should be a good match. Let's go ahead and get this match started.
All right,
and,
let's do this.
Let's get it on. 0-0. So what do you think are going to be the key cards? I'm going to go out on a limb, way out on a limb, and say Gargoyle and Sentinel.
Wow.
Yep. Limbing it.
That's bold.
Yep. I like to live in the moment. Live crazy. And what's interesting is Aegis Knight Blockade are actually going to be really good as well. Like Blockade with no epidemic around and no way to remove it, it can just grow and grow and grow. Like I would be tempted to actually prioritize a little bit in early Vault Blockade. But if I'm Hans here and I know the matchup, I'm playing Gargoyle. If I'm in a constructed queue here, I probably play Patriarch just because Yeti's so popular still. If I know my opponent's playing AU, I'm playing Gargoyle.
Gargoyle it up. Yeah.
I'm going to play him like 3 times. I'm just going to keep clicking him, praying that it lets me play more of them. All right. So flipping back around, we've got a clever deal here. I mean, he could go Vault Blockade, Aegis Knight, bam, Gargoyle's off the board. So the question is that a viable play, or you just have to say, listen, it's Gargoyle. It's Gargoyle, it's the mirror, I got to play Gargoyle. What do you think, Jake?
You gotta play Gargoyle. I'd play Gargoyle.
Yeah. I kind of feel like you have to play Gargoyle. I think I would play Gargoyle in 1
Sure.
and Vault Blockade in 4. What do you think?
Maybe.
I know EvilWeevil's thinking about it. Like, he's taking a while. He's definitely going, oh, do I Vault Blockade Aegis Knight? Like, this could really set him up for big things. I thought Hans was hitting concede there. I was like, what?
No, you don't do it, because if you do that, then you have a Vault Blockade in the middle. And when your opponent puts down Battletech in front of it, or Nexus, whatever he happens to have.
But Jake, it almost works the opposite. Because now every time you draw an Aegis Knight, you're blowing out the middle lane.
Yeah, but there's only 2 left in your deck at that point, and you've got so many more hands to draw.
Yeah. I mean, if it was me, I would go Gargoyle 1, Vault Blockade 4. The reason for Gargoyle 1 is so that he can't just buff his Gargoyle and then blow it out with Sentinel.
You
like,
want
that's
to keep
the
away,
whole
obviously.
key to this matchup is who gets blown out more. So lane placement becomes even more critical than it normally is. All right, so he's putting the blockade all the way in 5. I would have put it in 4 so that when I got my jetpack, I could move it to the middle. I could do more fun things with it. But it's reasonable, I think, to put it in 5. Just keep it safe for now while it grows. All right, so double Warmonger mod's obvious, right? That's a joke.
I'm kind of tempted, to be honest.
I think I would go slide Gargoyle to 4, Battletech in the middle, play the Patriarch in, I guess 2. And I mean, the beauty of that is you get a 5/9 Battletech. A 5/9 Battletech on turn 2 is like
Pretty solid.
gold. Like,
It's almost as good as a 5/9 Battletech on turn 1.
almost. It's actually not as good because he was able to get a Gargoyle turn 1. I think I'd rather have that.
Possibly.
Huh.
That's what you do with the Gargoyle.
Huh? Did I just play you there? Boom. I did. Hans is giving us playing time for a commentary, which is nice. I'm not sure.
Which is nice. There was a comment. Someone asked, is the match timed? Are the games timed?
No time matches.
checked,
Here on the
and
floor.
it's not timed.
Yep. Could be tomorrow when it finishes, but that's okay.
Well, I'll actually be gone.
You'll be gone by tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm leaving tonight to go home and visit my mother.
Oh, okay. Nice. I won't make any rude jokes, because that would be rude. Okay. So you could go something like Jetpack, Matrix Warden, give yourself a big Vault Blockade. You could also just Botanimate that Gargoyle, get it out of the way. Now you've got a Botanimate leveled. You know it's going to be good against Gargoyle.
It's going to be good at some point in the remainder of the game. Yep.
He has some tough choices. You could even just throw down another Vault Blockade and just fill the board with Vault Blockades, which is kind of crazy, but
Kind of an interesting strategy.
yeah, I think I like this play best. Of get the Gargoyle off the board. You're really set up well now for blowouts. You're going to be able to buff that Vault Blockade almost certainly with something else. And in fact, we're looking at a really nice trick he's got coming if he wants it. Okay, looking at Hans's hand though. What do you say? Get the Thunder Swords leveled? I mean, Thunder Swords are usually quite good in the mirror.
I'd say Thunder Swords.
The question is, would you do them both? Or would you just do one?
Well, I'd do one in front of the blockade for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. One in front of the blockade. And the question is, if you play one in lane 2, I was going to say you're essentially empty laning, but not really, because if he tries to move the Gargoyle anywhere, it dies. So that might actually be a more viable strategy than it normally would be. Normally putting a Thunder Sword in front of a Gargoyle is not that great. It's essentially empty laning it. But we know there's no removal, right? So you can get away with empty laning them a bit more. And Hans has a lot of pump between strategists, patriarchs,
I think he should honestly consider a roar here as well. I don't know what he wants to do, but
I agree with that.
I don't know.
They're both.
I like leveling the second Thunder Sword. I also like putting some really giant Patriarch and Tactician on the board.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is we're not that close to level 2 yet. So Roaring doesn't take that Battletech out. I mean, it takes the Battletech out of range of Patriarch 2, but that's a ways off. So I don't really think that needs to be that much on our radar just yet. Man, I'm not sure what the right play is here, but I think I would put Thundersaur in lane 2 just to get them going. Thundersaurs can really take over this matchup. We'll see what he does. We might not have enough witty banter to overcome Hans's deep thinking.
Maybe he'll be a rebel, play Warmonger mod. No, Thundersaur.
Warmonger mod. That would have been amazing. Warmonger mod, the Battletech. Boom.
Yep. 10-9. Okay,
Right.
So you did go with the Thundersaur, though.
Yeah, I think that's the right play. Especially
Get it
since
leveled,
he
and
has-
it's actually in a pretty good spot. So, I like it a lot.
There's nowhere to move that Gargoyle to safety.
Got nowhere to go.
I mean, he could play Battletech here. Sorry, Battletech. I meant Sentinel. But does he want to match the Thundersaurs? Because he could certainly go Thundersaur in 3. He could also go Thundersaur in 4 in front of the other Thundersaur. Oh, boy. Nope.
Oh! Nope.
Nope. He's going Sentinel Blowout. Good job, Senior Blowout. Way to get it done. So that's an interesting play. It leaves him rather vulnerable to Thundersaur Madness now. I'd be definitely tempted to play the Patriarch to grow my Thundersaurs. The question is, do you play the other Thundersaur first? That would be put him in 5, and then bam, Patriarch in 3. I don't know. It's pretty solid.
Maybe.
You could, though.
It's kind of tempting to strategist, too, though. I don't know.
I think all of these plays are viable. The problem with strategist is if you don't play it here, underleveled strategists aren't that great. So you have all underleveled strategists. If you play, you could go Patriarch Roar and just have giant Thundersaurs putting extreme amounts of pressure on the board immediately. There is a number of viable plays here.
The whole hand is good.
Yep. I think if it were me, I'd play Thundersaur 5, play the Patriarch, and just have giant dudes. And more than that, you have such amazing draws coming in level 2.
I mean, 3 level Thundersaurs in your deck?
Yeah. So he went
in an AU mirror? That's pretty solid.
Exactly. He went the Roar method, which I think is perfectly fine. It gives him...
I like that a lot as well, actually.
Full board of threats, big Thundersaurs. I mean, I think that was a completely viable play.
Oh god, this 2.1. Those Thundersaurs could potentially win the game.
Yeah, they really could. So Evil's got, at the end of player level 1, he's got his Gargoyle. He can do another blowout, which is nice with the Sentinel.
It's nice, yep.
The problem is, what exactly is he doing about these Thundersaurs? They're looking big.
They're looking big, scary, dinosaur-like even.
I'm kind of worried about them.
A little bit. And not for them, for what they're about to do to EvilWeevil.
Yep. So it should be interesting. I think if it's me, wow. I don't know. The problem is if you don't play Sentinel, you don't get the blowout. And if you don't play Gargoyle, you're passing on Gargoyle. But it looks like he's going to go that route and then play a Thundersaur in... I'm not sure what the best lane is for Thundersaur, actually. Maybe 2 then, if he's going to do it that way. He's not playing Thundersaur. Okay, so he is playing Gargoyle.
Playing 5 Gargoyle, sure.
Okay. Alright, so Hans has it here. I mean, he gets to go the Patriarch Roar and do amazing things. Let's see, is he going to be able to kill... He will not be able to kill that blockade yet, but it's real close.
Well, I mean, he could play both roars.
Yeah, I don't think that would be right.
Or he could roar and then Warmonger mod.
Oh my god. That would be...
It would be 20.
The problem with that play is that if it was early in player level 1, that would be a totally reasonable play.
Yeah, I don't think it's here.
I feel like there's just too many ways for him to be able to remove it. I think the Patriarch Roar is just too powerful and too obvious.
Do it this way. Yeah, because you want the 10-22 on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is just really going to be tough for Weevil. I mean, he's got another Sentinel 2, which is great.
That's nice.
I mean, it doesn't kill a Thundersaur.
No, it does not.
So he can almost kill the Patriarch. Imagine if he had gotten an Aegis Knight here. Oh my goodness.
That would have been pretty sick, right?
You make the blockade, 20 armor, and just boosh! Thundersaur will be dead. He does not.
Done.
I don't know. I guess you're kind of forced into like Sentinel 2 Roar and sort of hope to hold things together.
Something like that.
I'm not really seeing a better play here. I mean, the interesting thing is last turn he had the option to play a Thundersaur, and that could have been the one he could have played. And if that was a level 2 Thundersaur right now,
it would be doing a lot better than a level 1 one.
It's a whole different game. You can kind of drop that down in front of his level 1 and end up trading it off. Yeah, it is interesting. Weevil has been completely striking out with the Aegis. He dropped that Vault Blockade. Okay, so he went that way.
That's what I mentioned, though, when he played it, was he's only got 2 left in his deck, and it's a lot of turns.
Yeah. I mean, 2's quite a few. Alright, and Hans now can come back with his own Vault Blockade Aegis Knight play if he wants. He doesn't have a lane to stick his Battle Tech in. He could play another Thundersword if he wants. The problem is the blockade play isn't that amazing. I mean, he's going to blow out...
Really do anything.
It blows out the Gargoyle in 5, and it lets him kill... He'll kill the Sentinel in 1, or they'll trade, and he'll be left with, you know, a dead Thundersword. He still won't be able to kill that Vault Blockade, and his other Thundersword will be dead. So he'll have pretty much just a Vault Blockade on the board at the end of the turn. But he'll have traded off EvilWeevil's threats. So he's got to figure out, does he have a way to keep his stuff on the board? I'm not really sure I see any way to do that.
He really could have used a way to pump the Patriarch up to get that Vault Blockade out of here.
Yeah, you know a card's good for that is Matrix Warden.
Or, yeah, you know, any other card that pumps. But
yeah, he's got... The problem is most of them wouldn't work in this spot. Strategist wouldn't work. Only one that's going to work is Roar. Because he's got the Battle Tech, right? He's
because of the way his lanes are filled right now.
Yes.
Nothing else really works.
Yep. You could also do a play where you could potentially just overwrite in the middle if you wanted to with that Battle Tech, just to get it leveled. Or he could even play it in 1. Get it leveled that way, take out the Sentinel. I don't know, he doesn't have a lot of great options here that I'm seeing.
Yeah, PTK is not wrong. He can almost just kill EvilWeevil.
Let's see, 16.
With a Battle Tech override in the middle before combat, he can come awfully close to...
15 is 31, 35, 39. Yeah, we take him down to 11. I kind of feel like, though... I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a reasonable method. The problem is it leaves EvilWeevil with some guys on the board. Oh, that was interesting. Huh. Okay, so he decided not to go either Battletech in 1 or Blockade. Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
He's taking it out, yeah. He's just taking it out because it's already taking the damage.
Yeah. It's an interesting play that he would rather take that out than the Gargoyle. I think most people would have gone for the Gargoyle. And if he had done that pre-combat, he could have also killed the Sentinel with the Aegis Knight. Whereas now he sort of risks EvilWeevil pulling a Sentinel and being able to kill.
Well, no, if he did it pre-combat, his EvilWeevil's Vault Blockade would not have died.
Yes, exactly. He would have had a Vault Blockade. So the choice Hans made was to give him 2 guys rather than just a Vault Blockade, which is an interesting decision point because I think most people would have said, Vault Blockade or a Gargoyle and a Sentinel? Yeah, I'll give you the Vault Blockade, no problem.
Well, okay, but look at it this way. What's scarier, 7/7 Gargoyle or a 5/3 10 armor Blockade that attacks every turn and can't be killed?
Yeah, I think that's the point, that Hans was able to recognize that was a really large threat. The problem is...
Oh, this is nice.
Exactly what we saw here, right? Any amount of pump, any Sentinel blowout, he's going to have his guys live. But then Hans just retaliates in beautiful fashion with a Thundersword 2 that he gets to pump to kill the Sentinel and then end up trading with that Patriarch.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Pretty sweet. But you know what EvilWeevil still has? He still has that Gargoyle. But,
oh, man.
He's a little low on health. And that Thundersword, I'm going to predict it now, that Thundersword is going to win the game.
Really?
Yep. He's only
You're
at
all
21.
about the bold moves and bold claims today.
He's only at 21. I don't think he's EvilWeevil. Unless EvilWeevil pulls a Botanimate next turn, I don't see how he stops the Thundersword from beating him.
Yeah, no, it's the only way. Any other way of removing it is going to involve combat, and combat's not going to go well.
Yeah, I mean, he can hit him for 10 right now with his Sentinel, and that must be kind of tempting to go Sentinel, Aegis Knight, put him at 9. It's just enough. But if Hans finds a Roar, that's it. Like, that is ball
lethal.
game. So he, you know, that's a pretty tough one. I mean, he could do something like Sentinel into, you know, overwriting him and then playing the Aegis Knight to blow that guy out.
Yep, sure.
I mean, any way you slice it, there's an 11-19 Thundersword on the board. And
it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, looks like he's checking his combat log. He's like, yeah, I played that. Yeah, I did level up Botanimate. Where? How come it's not in my hand right now? And look what he's got. Oh no, he doesn't have the Justice card. That was last turn.
Nice try.
I was gonna make a witty comment about the Justice card right now.
Tiny Grimes trying to rub salt in the wound.
Yep, always reaching for the shaker.
Hey there, wound. Have some salt.
Alright, so he is going for the blowout. Nope, he's not. Which is so
he's just blocking.
Unfortunate. You have the combo, and you can't even do it because it pumps up the darn Thundersword. And he did not draw the Botanimate, but he did draw a giant blockade. And it's blurry for me. What is the blockade's numbers at level 2 armor-wise? Is it 15? I don't remember.
I don't know. That's blurry on mine too.
Looks like it's 15.
15? Sure.
Yeah. So it's 15. I mean, that's kind of interesting. All right, what does Hans do here? He's got, he's going to trade off with the Patriarch. He's going to slaughter that poor Sentinel.
Poor thing.
I mean, Gargoyle 2 feels real obvious. Gargoyle 2 always feels real obvious. It might be a good play.
Patriarch plays the game.
What's
the
that?
obvious move. Nothing. I didn't say it.
Whoa, no insults needed, sir. I kind of like jetpacking the blockade and Gargoyle in 4. Puts 6 damage through, takes him down to 15. He'll have this giant Thundersword. I'm
Very
not sure he'll be able to handle all those threats. The Gargoyle should also eat the Aegis Knight. He certainly doesn't care about taking 9 from that Gargoyle. That's not a problem.
No, not a problem at all.
Unless he goes, let's see, double Warmonger mod would take him to 1836. You can't even hit him with a double Warmonger mod and spike him out. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I would do. Gargoyle 4, Jetpack 3, and I think he's got this one pretty well wrapped up.
Actually,
the nice thing is,
EvilWeevil doesn't even have 2 Warmonger mods, so I think he only has 1.
that's true. So he really is not going to double Warmonger mod. I'm quite sure of that.
It would be very unlikely.
That would be
and
awesome.
if he does, something is up.
I would love if that happened. It was like, oh, I changed my list for the Forge.
It happened last week.
Oh, that's true. But that was unintentional, and Zrandals quickly fixed it. And that is it. All right, so Hans takes game 1. It was an interesting game because EvilWeevil went for that early blockade and then just could never get it to happen. Like, if it had worked differently and you just kept drawing Aegis Knights, that could have been amazing, and instead it just ended up being almost a waste. Well, I guess not a waste of a play. Hans had to play very smartly.
It actually accomplished certain things.
Yeah, and Hans just was very clever about realizing that that was a pretty major threat, taking it out and letting the Gargoyle go. So we're gonna have a little bit of.
The card needs to be banned.
We're gonna have a little bit of extra time today on the show, I think. So we will have time to be able to do giveaways right here during the show. Nightbot is paying attention. If you want to be eligible for a giveaway, go ahead and follow the stream. And if you want to win a giveaway, maybe tell Nightbot who you think is going to win this match. And Hans, I think we are waiting for you to challenge EvilWeevil in Game 2 of the Forge.
Episode something.
What's up?
It's an episode something. So I don't actually know what
I
episode.
have no idea what episode.
No
we're
idea.
on. I was doing a really good job for like the first 5 with that.
5? Yeah, I was thinking 5.
And now I put them all on YouTube, and I was like, all right, episode... Wow, I really don't have any idea what episode we're on.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. There's a really cool giveaway button now. Oh, that's amazeballs.
Amazeballs, wow.
Yeah, we are not using Nightbot anymore. Nightbot has been relegated to the scrap heap.
Whoa.
We'll use him sometimes. Okay, so right out of the gate, Gargoyle seems strong.
Seems good.
Hans is looking
Although,
at it.
it should be noted, Gargoyle was not really a defining card of the last match.
No, not that much. I mean, he was productive, but he wasn't, like you said, the defining card. It was really the Thundersaur game.
Yes, it was. Thundersaur took that one home.
I mean, I don't think there's another play here other than to play Patriarch Aegis Knight. The question would be, what lanes do you put them in? And I think you have to go 1-5 so you don't risk getting blown out. I mean, he would have to find Pump, but Roar's a pretty good Pump card.
I hear it's not bad.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that card.
I've been told that it is an acceptably good card at times.
Who told you that?
Everybody.
Everybody. Alright, that's interesting. Alright, so let's see. If you would like to win the first giveaway, type in The Forge with no spaces. Let's see if that worked.
The Forge, no spaces,
That's
and make sure that you're following the stream, or you'll be a sad panda when we roll your name, and then Chinagrams has to say, no, you can't win.
And I will do that.
You will.
I've done it before. Oops, I misspelled The Forge.
There's even a sad panda emoticon we put in chat.
Yep. There you go. There you go. Register for The Forge for your chance at a giveaway. Alright, so he did that. Now, EvilWeevil. He's got his Sentinel blowout, but it's ill-timed because he can't do that much with it. It's kind of a tough deal there. You could do crazy things like Basher Roar.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just terrible.
That's crazy.
Nexus Tech is interesting. I don't know. Is it worth it to go Sentinel Aegis Knight? I just don't feel like it is here. I feel like it doesn't accomplish very much.
No, it doesn't really do much. I like the Tech Fish.
Yeah, I think I like Nexus Tech as well. I think I like Nexus Tech and Sentinel here. Get some guys on the board. Get that Sentinel leveled. You don't really need to level Aegis Knight. He's still doing the blowouts, even if he's level 1. And if you have your level 3 Sentinel, the blowouts become much, much, much more overwhelming. Alright. I feel like EvilWeevil has been infected. That Hans has come into his home and infected him with a toxin. Or as we like to call it, intelligence. That's an intelligence serum. Not that EvilWeevil needed it. But yeah, he seems to have adopted it.
He's thinking deep here.
Yeah.
Deep in the tank.
I think that's
the Gargoyle moves.
Oh, what was the other card? A Roar. Wow. I don't think I would have roared there. I feel like, AU, one of its main game plans is to try to spread the board. A 5/8 Battletech, I don't know, is that worth it? Is he getting it out of range of that many things? I don't know. Let's see. So, I gotta say, you know who looks good here is Thundersaur.
Really?
You know who always looks good? Thundersaur.
That's not true. Not true.
That's true. In this matchup, though, it usually is.
In this matchup, he's pretty solid.
The one problem with Thundersaur here is I would want to put him in lane 3. And if you put him in lane 3, you're basically saying, next turn, when I draw that Battletech, I'm going to be really angry. Because you know you're going to. If you haven't seen it yet, and you put a Thundersword in 3, the odds are 112% that you will draw a Battletech. Just because that's how the universe works.
This happens to Tiny Grimes every single time.
Yes. So do you tempt the universe or not? I don't know. I'm not sure it's worth tempting the universe there. The other side is you might say, is the Battletech really that critical right here? And maybe not. But the 2 cards I really want to play are Gargoyle, Thundersaur. I feel like the board state isn't such where I feel a lot of pressure to address that, and these are the best cards for the matchup. So that's probably what I'm playing. It's just a matter of lane placement. So what do you think? Where would you put your Gargoyle and your Thundersaur here, were you to play them? I know you want to go like Roar Warmonger mod.
Roar Warmonger mod, the Aegis Knight, start swinging.
Yeah.
Seems good.
Game over in 5 turns.
Yep.
Oh.
Checkmate in 5.
Oh, he killed my 5 health Aegis Knight. That's too bad.
Reset the mate counter.
Yep. So
yeah, I would play the same 2 cards. Looks like he's gonna go for the Thundersaur in 3.
Yeah, I think you have to put it in 3. Otherwise, you're essentially
do it,
you're empty laning it.
and then you just empty lane the Gargoyle too.
Yeah, putting it in front of the other Gargoyle is madness. You're just basically saying, "Please, sir, draw a Sentinel."
Or even if you don't, kill mine for free.
Yeah. That's your best case scenario, is that he kills it for free. That is not a good best case scenario.
No.
All right.
Subpar.
Looks like probably moving over into 5 Sentinel. And then the question is, do you need to do anything about this Thundersaur? I don't think you do. I think that's the first Thundersaur we've seen that you can just kind of ignore. Maybe stick the Gargoyle in 1. It's not going to be quite a full blowout, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely got some options here.
Barring buff, it lives. Or do you think it's better to put Sentinel in 1, knowing it'll die next turn and being okay with that?
I mean, you could. I like keeping it alive.
Yeah. I think I would probably play Gargoyle in 1, Sentinel in 4. But I could be convinced that the correct play was to put the Gargoyle in 4 and the Sentinel in 1.
Could you?
For those of you who are here for the digital card game roundup, it was scheduled to start around 2. Our players are taking a lot of time with their plays, which is good, and it will probably start closer to 2:45, and I will put a sign up regarding that.
By that, he means, hopefully before 5.
We'll see. It depends. It depends on how these games shake out. Okay, so he did play Gargoyle and Sentinel, but he did play them in... No, he didn't. He played Gargoyle and Roar.
And Roar, sir.
Interesting.
This can be seen on these numbers on the Nexus Tactician and Gargoyles.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
I mean, it's an interesting idea because now it eats the Thundersaur.
It does.
It keeps not playing guys. Which...
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of Roars he's played. He's down on the creature count now. But his guys are big enough that, he wins all trades right now.
They are big. And when you can get big guys, that certainly helps. It's just, when you're playing against AU, there's so much room for pumping shenanigans that it makes me nervous to take this approach of not playing guys. But it's certainly paying off right now. You could go like a strategist and a Roar to trade off at least that battle tech, the Nexus tech, but it doesn't even kill the Gargoyle, just eats your Gargoyle. Actually, the
Gargoyle's getting eaten.
Gargoyle Roar seems pretty solid right now. Sort of desperately searching for an answer for EvilWeevil and not really seeing... I'm sorry, for Hans.
For Hans.
I'm not seeing a really strong play.
I mean, that's the benefits of having that double Roar down.
Yeah, man, that's kind of brutal, though. He gets a lot of his stuff just eaten.
Yep.
And if,
he can't fight those Gargoyles, even with the pump.
And he's really kind of taking the chance on just hoping that EvilWeevil doesn't have Sentinel in his hand. I mean,
he didn't have a lot of options.
Exactly. Well, I was going to say, when I say taking the chance, I mean hoping, and not like he made some sort of mistake in making that assumption. He was just kind of in a tough spot there. And he doesn't, which is good for Hans. He's got the Justicar. This is an interesting one, because you could go like Thundersaur and Patriarch him. I think those are the cards I'd play here, because we're just about to go into level 2. They're very strong cards to have leveled going into level 2. The question again is, where do you play them?
Sure.
If you play the Thundersaur in front of the Aegis Knight, I believe he just eats your Thundersaur, which is a bit problematic. 2-9. No, I guess he won't eat him if you get Pump. I mean, unless Hans has Pump, he won't eat him.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting risk to take because there's a lot of Pump in these decks.
Right, but the problem is, where else do you play him? You're basically empty laning him anywhere else.
Yep.
I'm not sure I love that Patriarch in the middle. If you put him in 4, you're not clogging up the lane if he decides to ignore him. Okay. So the reason was he could move over.
He wanted to move in. Yeah, because this way either the strategist has to fight something or has to go off to the very side of the board.
Right. So perhaps that was just simply a lane placement play, which is fine. Battletech could be strong here to help him get rid of that Gargoyle. I think I'd be pretty happy to get rid of that Gargoyle right here.
Alright, so what would your second card be then?
The two best cards here, I think, are Thundersaur and Gargoyle for the matchup. So what I might be tempted to do, actually, is to go... I'm tempted to go Thundersaur 3, play the Gargoyle, but I really do want to remove that Gargoyle. It's a fairly tough choice, I think. I think both could work. But it's a tough one. You could also just do something like move the strategist over into 5, play the Thundersaur in 4, and then maybe play your Gargoyle in 2. At that point, if your opponent gets Pump, you're kind of hosed. If they get a Sentinel, you're kind of hosed. So maybe it'd be better just to stick the Gargoyle in 3.
I was going to say, put it in 3, so you remove the Sentinel option from that.
Yeah, I think that might be better. They can still do things like a level 2 Roar to wipe you out, or a level 2 Patriarch, but the odds are lower than giving him all those options plus 1.
Yeah, otherwise you give him a lot of cards to hit.
Yeah. So I think that's what I would do. It leaves the Gargoyle on the board right now, but it gets your 2 biggest threats leveled. Although Battletech is a pretty good threat in this matchup also, especially in combination with Thundersaur. So I definitely understand the desire here. You know what? I'm just killing the Gargoyle and moving on. Like, that is a very reasonable mindset, I think. The question is, what's the second card? I wonder if he has already decided on the second card or not. It kind of seems like he hadn't. Okay.
There we go.
With the Gargoyle. Gargoyle is amazing, of course. So
it's been said about him.
The nice thing is his play took away any sort of Sentinel shenanigans.
Yes, that's true.
The Gargoyle's isolated off on the side. He's not really able to do anything.
Yep.
But it's still a pretty strong level 2, being able to go Patriarch to wipe out the Battletech. So it looks like, I'm thinking Patriarch 1, Gargoyle 4. Is that what you'd do?
Let me see. Yeah, I kind of like that, to be honest.
Feels solid.
Feels solid for sure. Pump up your Patriarch into exactly where you want him.
And
now your Gargoyle's positioned to do whatever you need him to do the next turn.
Exactly, and he'll have essentially 14 health because of the armor, so it would require a lot of Pump simply a Sentinel won't be enough. It'll just, save his Gargoyle, perhaps if it's a Sentinel 2, but it won't actually allow him to blow him out. Unless he goes like Sentinel 2 into Aegis Knight or something. That's interesting. I think I would have wanted to keep that Patriarch away from the Gargoyle. It's an interesting play. I don't know. That seems... I don't think that's how I would have played that.
At the same time, though, Hans is staring down a lot of stuff now.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been before. It was lane placement.
Yeah, I know. I'm just commenting in general. Hans is staring down a lot of things right now.
Sure is. He's in a pretty tough spot. That 2.1 was very strong, and Hans has a very dicey 2.1. Which, the nice thing, it doesn't just outright win in these type of matchups, but it does give you a pretty big advantage. I'm going to go ahead and roll off that last giveaway here. So here we go. The winner is...
Good luck, everybody.
I can't even see who the winner is. Winner is Aries130. So I will send you your code at the resolution of this game. Alright. And I do need to add a little text at the top here. Alright. There we go.
Oh, you did a thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't really know what Hans does here, to be honest. I think that's certainly a good idea. At least trade off one guy. And then what do you do after that, though? Do you Thundersoar? Do you Gargoyle? Do you throw down like a Vault Blockade in front of that Patriarch just to slow him down a little bit? Maybe pray to get an Aegis Knight next turn? I'm not sure there is.
Maybe, I don't know. That feels like a stopgap that doesn't ever get you up a card.
I feel like every play he has here is a stopgap. I mean, maybe the best play is Gargoyle in one, but even so, he can move out of the way. It just gives him too many options to blow you out. I just don't feel like there's a good play here.
Yeah, I mean, there is no good play. Your opponent played 2 level 2s and 2.1, and you're staring at a hand of level 1s, and the only real good one... I mean, Strategist and Gargoyle are solid, but they don't stand up to the larger bodies across the table.
Yeah, for sure. I really don't have a solution here. I think I would probably do the Vault Blockade because I would feel like I was so far behind here that I wasn't really sure what to do. But certainly just playing your good cards is a very reasonable strategy, hoping to hit some actual good cards next turn. Oh, and my strategy would have worked like gangbusters. Oh, man. Alright, but at least EvilWeevil didn't hit another bonkers turn. He only got to have one of them. So if you're EvilWeevil here, do you consider going Basher in 4 to get rid of his one guy that's allowing him to buff?
Yeah, possibly. His hand doesn't do a whole lot else when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I think I would probably play the Thundersoar.
Sure.
I don't think I would trade my 7-4 for his 5-3. I think I would rather
No.
do some more damage.
I would move them both and do damage.
Yep. I agree with that. If you go Aegis Knight in front of the Gargoyle, you are putting pressure on him that he either has to find a Sentinel or move him over and die and trade for... Actually, he wouldn't even trade for the other Gargoyle. He'd have to get pumped or get eaten by one of those two guys. But it's kind of risky because then you're relying on yourself getting your opponent not getting the Sentinel. I think I would move both Gargoyles over, put Thundersoar in 1, and put Aegis Knight in 4. Okay. That works as well.
He wants to eat it for free with Gargoyle, for sure.
Oh, okay, and then pump him and eat that Gargoyle. I like that play.
I like that because now there's no option for Hans to trade off for the 7-4 Gargoyle. It's going to live another turn.
So those were sort of two lines of play. His line was very much a clear the board, pressure, my line was a little more of Thundersaur is a threat that might be hard to answer. But I think in this play was probably the right play. Oh man, and he gets a Thundersaur now. Ooh, baby.
Thundersaur.
Unless he wants to go Vault Blockade, Aegis Knight, blow out his Aegis Knight, hit him for 16. He's at 31. I
don't know.
I think Thundersaur is a better play here.
I'm liking the Thundersaur, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
In the middle, I would think.
Yes, I like him in the middle as well.
Yeah.
Although he does have the Battle Tech, which if he plays Thundersaur in 5, Nexus Tech, and Nexus Tech's in the middle, then Thundersaur actually will eat the Aegis Knight.
Yeah, that works too.
Or he could just roar and do the same thing.
That is even possibly better.
Yeah, I think that probably is the right play.
Because you push a lot of damage with those gargoyles. They aren't going anywhere yet.
And Hans, this is one of the problems of Thundersaur, right? So, like, Thundersaur is crazy good if Hans is winning right now. But Hans is losing by so much that throwing down that Thundersaur 2 to the board might just be a losing play, as it doesn't really do anything.
And it's not like he has a quick reverse spot to put it in, like where it's going to take 12 and immediately become giant, right?
Yep. And he has to deal with these gargoyles. So that's like job 1 for him is, how do I handle the gargoyles? And if he can't, then the game's just going to be over.
They are going to kill him. Yep.
Not to mention Thundersaur. I mean, I think in a different life total situation, he'd probably overwrite his Aegis Knight with that Thundersaur. Or at least consider it very strongly. Let's see, 14. He's in a really tough pickle, though. Boy. Not really sure I see a play here that allows him to live much longer. You could go... Oh, wow. I was going to say you could go Strategist in 4. But pretty much any damage he puts on that Thundersaur is going to be a problem because he only has...
right back at him.
Yeah, he only has 5 health. Like, it lives, but with only 5 health, I mean, he's so low that the Thundersaur alone might kill him. I mean, so basically EvilWeevil has 3 must-answer threats, and Hans has no way to answer
No
any
answers.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this one is ballgame. Let's see, I'm going to look down the chat and see if anyone has any ideas of how he could pull out this one. Hans is thinking carefully and hard. He probably has his headbanger thinking music going right now.
Yeah, that's how Germans think.
Alright, so he does that, and he just prays to all the gods that there is no pump in EvilWeevil's hand. Yet, we know, staring at his hand, there is indeed pump.
There is pump.
Alright, so that will do that, and EvilWeevil wins game 2. So for those of you who have joined us for the digital card game roundup that is coming up next, this is a best of 5. We are now at 1 game apiece in this grudge match between 2 titans of the Solforge universe. Hans!
Alright, but is it even and we're going all the way to game 5 here, or was that first game just the one that EvilWeevil was going to give to Hans?
Oh, I forgot about that. He did promise us he would be
He said Hans could have 1 game.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the Middle Ages when a lord would roll by in his carriage and toss a few golden coins to the audience. You know, that maybe that's what EvilWeevil did there. Well, this is a really awful on-the-play hand for EvilWeevil. So knowing your opponent is AU, do you just throw down a Thundersaur? Like, in blind play, it would be pure madness and insanity. I kind of think I would just throw down a Thundersaur here and go, boom! I got Thundersword on the board, buddy boy. I mean, the other play is Sentinel, which is a reasonable play. Get it leveled. It's good in your deck. It'll be good on level 2. But we're seeing these games aren't going very long. We haven't seen a player level 3 yet. Where did that one go? Like 2.3 or something?
Around that, it just took a while to get there. That's all.
I think I would play Thunder, so I wouldn't be happy about it, believe me. But I think I would. I am dealing with Thundersword, and I wouldn't do it in 3. I don't think, because
There goes in 3.
I'd want the option of doing Nexus Tech. I mean, I understand it's good anti-battle tech, but it's interesting how that works out. Do you not want him to have a battle tech, or do you want to have a Nexus Tech? And actually, probably you don't want him to have a battle tech more than you want your own Nexus Tech. So 3 maybe was the right answer. It strips away your options, but strips away his options as well. Alright, so if you're Hans, do you just match him and you say, I see your Thundersoar with my own Thundersoar.
Thundersoar.
And then, I guess, Strategist. Feels like that's the best play. I don't think I'd want to just throw a battle tech in lane 3 and say, here you go. This
No,
works.
you don't want to do that. I like Thundersoar Strategist. Strategist is flexible. You're going to have options on what you do next turn.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some insightful comments from the audience that he doesn't always play Nexus Tech anyway. He sometimes does, but it has to be the right spot. Whereas in Hans's deck, I think BattleTech takes on a more central role than Nexus Tech takes on for EvilWeevil. For EvilWeevil,
Sure.
Nexus Tech is kind of a niche card. In the right moment, he'll play it. For Hans, if he doesn't have a better play, BattleTech is always a solid play. Alright, we've had plenty of time to analyze the first play of the game. Now, we get to analyze the second play of the game. Okay. Seemed to me like that was pretty much the only play he had going for him.
Yeah, it's definitely what I would do.
Let's see. Can you do anything cutesy with Matrix Warden and Patriarch and Thundersurge? So you can make him a 5/14. 5/14 will not trade him, I don't think. 50 for 7 next time.
Tinygram's doing math.
I mean, it'll trade him, but it won't eat him. Yeah, as soon as I start doing math, the
There
whole
we go.
world starts to
As
explode.
soon as Tinygram starts doing math, just look out.
I did submit a YouTube video yesterday in which I
Of
had
you doing
serious math failings.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I have lethal on the board, and I compute wrong, and I'm like, alright, so I need to energy search to try to get lethal, and then I miss, and I'm like, darn, I don't have lethal. Battle. You win! Oh, I do? Oh, that's great.
I would not have uploaded that video. Although I also would not have made that error, so.
There you go. He's got some interesting choices, though. Do you go the Matrix Warden, Patriarch route, or do you do Blockade? I think I like this best. It puts a lot of pressure on Hans. It also sets it up in such a way that if EvilWeevil can find enough pump, he might be able to do something cool with his Thundersoar. Like, for instance, if he found, say, a Botanimate. As we saw in Game 1, he was able to find that. And then lose.
Yeah, I mean, Botanimate is actually a really fairly solid card in this particular matchup, if he could ever draw it at the right times.
Especially with how these guys are playing, where it hasn't quite been that Gargoyle Sentinel blowout festival that I thought it would be. It's more been, hey, I bet you I can grow a bigger Thundersoar than you can. Oh,
Yeah.
really? I'll take that bet. That seems to be more of the game that we're seeing here. But despite that, I still would have a hard time getting away from double Gargoyle here. Gargoyle is just such a giant threat always.
Yeah, I mean, we're still in play level 1. You force your opponent to come up with pump.
Yeah.
Get them leveled.
Yep, I agree. I think I would go Gargoyle 1. I think I would go Gargoyle 1 and then Gargoyle in... It's really interesting. I think I would go 5, which might
I would
sound...
go 5.
Yeah, it might
No,
sound kind
I'd
of
go
crazy,
5.
but the odds are just too strong of hitting, like, Sentinel Roar or something like that and just completely ruining your day.
No, 5 is the right call, in my opinion. If you're doing that. I mean, he does have other options here. He could do all sorts of crazy things, but...
Yeah, and I don't think you saw this game yesterday, Jake. Turkus was beating me 123 to 41 with a war merchant deck.
Wow.
Yep, it was.
Did you make a comeback or did you just lose?
I made the comeback. I was running a late game Agamemnon AT Dragons deck, and the Dragons were able to win the day. Were able to win the day.
So in hindsight, War Merchant sucks. Got it.
It was an interesting game. Go check it out on YouTube. You might find it enjoyable, but you'll be sad when the War Merchants lose. I've had like 3 comments already. I wish the War Merchants would have won. Screw Tiny.
Screw Tiny.
Well, what do you do here? I mean, he's decided to battle.
I battled first. Okay.
I mean, that's a big old Thundersword that if you don't deal with.
Yep. But the problem is, okay, yeah, maybe you block.
But if
you have a strategist, here's the thing: because you have a strategist.
Yeah, I guess that's true. He would need like 2 roars or a Botanimate or some really cool set of combat tricks rather than just a roar.
Yeah,
I guess that's a good point. So I guess that's
you don't leave yourself open to just a 1-card complete blowout at that point. So
yeah, so I guess that's probably the reasonable out. To go Gargoyle 3, Gargoyle 5.
I mean, I don't want to block it, but the alternative is you take 28 minus whatever you block it with next turn.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Alright, that seems perfectly reasonable. No reason to set yourself up for some sort of disastrous play by sticking the Gargoyle in front of somebody. Just get a board presence.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're tempting your opponent to roar twice at that point anyways. So why would you block with the other one in front of either of the other creatures, right?
To me, it's really obvious to play Botanimate here. You get a level, it's a beautiful spot. I would stick my Thundersword in front of 2, and... Oh, you know what, though? I almost made a mistake there. If you Botanimate, I'm still going to be a 5 attack, so you would also have to roar. So that's a little bit less enticing.
A little bit worse, because I don't really want to play 2 spells this turn if I'm EvilWeevil.
Completely agree with that. So that kind of changes things. I'm not sure it changes things enough because you don't have really another play, because you could go like Aegis Knight in 2 to take out him. You could go Thundersword maybe in 3 post-combat. That's maybe your best play. But it leaves your opponent with sort of the ball swinging the other way, where he could drop a Sentinel and come around and start blowing you out. But maybe that's the best play. I don't know. Botanimate Roar is dicey because it leaves your opponent with 2 characters to your 3. But you are doing a bunch of damage. I mean, that's one way to look at it. It's going to be so much damage that he'll end up doing with that Thundersword.
He could Botanimate 2 and then roar, and that would actually put Thundersword out of range as well.
Botanimate 2 and roar. That's
true. Botanimate the strategist.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
It's interesting. You do a lot less damage this turn, but that's not enough, I think, to factor into the full thought process. So, yeah, that is a better play.
I mean, there's not a whole lot of other plays you could take because Aegis Knight is essentially useless. It's a dead card. Same with Tactician.
Yeah,
you
certainly is.
Really, it's a matter of are you going to play Thundersword instead of blowing out your opponent on the board?
See, the way I play, I would probably take the safer play, and I would probably go Thundersword 2, or maybe Aegis Knight 2, Thundersword 3, and go that route. I would also consider maybe Thundersword 2 and Roar. That could be interesting. It puts some new threats on the board.
Why would you play Aegis Knight?
Aegis Knight eats the strategist in 2.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know, but I mean, who cares? And you don't want to level.
Interesting. Okay. I think that's reasonable as well.
Yeah, that's okay.
Take out the Gargoyle.
I think any plays that don't involve Aegis Knight and Tactician on that turn are fine.
Yeah. I think not trying to do a little bit more damage to that Thundersaur and keeping him alive was the right play. Because you were not going to get enough out of that play. And leveling this Thundersaur, I think any way you decide to level this Thundersaur was the right play. You get the Thundersaur leveled, now your level 2 is looking very strong, as we've seen. Even level 1 Thundersaurs are winning games. In fact, I think level 1 Thundersaurs have pretty much won the last 2 games. Because the level 2 Thundersaurs came in late.
Late to the party.
I guess in the last game it was the combination of a level 2 Thundersaur and 2 Gargoyles that did end up winning it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and send out this code to Aries while we wait a moment. It didn't work. Here we go. Alright. Your code, sir, has been sent off to you.
Congratulations.
Enjoy. Alright. So Hans is going to move over, it looks like. He's got to play that Thundersaur. I suppose Sentinel in 4 is really strong because you can blow him out. And I think I would set my Thundersaur down. You set it down in front of his. Let's do some math. He hits it, makes it a 4-8. Yeah, seems reasonable. Especially with
Thundersaur Wars.
Yeah, the Thundersaur Wars have begun. Okay, so the end of player level 1 is upon us. You could go Thundersaur in 3, Patriarch in 1. Feels pretty darn good to me. It does.
Oh yeah, it seems fairly decent position.
It leaves you slightly vulnerable to pump, because your Thundersaur, well, his Thundersaur will have 8 health, and your Thundersaur will only have. Let me do the math here. His Thundersaur will have 8 health. Your Thundersaur will only have 6 attack.
Look out, folks.
Yep. So if he gets pump, he'll be able to kill your Thundersaur and then live. So that's a little bit dangerous. But it feels like those are the best 2 cards you want to level going into the end of the player level. I think I'm going to have a hard time not making that play. What do you think, Jake? What would you do here as the evilest Weevil of them all?
As the evilest Weevil of them all. I think that line's probably one of the optimal ones. Let's see if anybody in chat has something better that we missed.
There we go. Okay. I think that was the right play.
Yeah, he goes for it. I think I agree, yeah. I mean, it's not perfect, but
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
He's got the right cards leveled moving forward. If he draws them, he's gonna be in very good shape. Is really what it comes down to. Plus, he's got a 6/10 Thundersaur that's gonna be at least somewhat hard to grapple with.
Sure, fair
enough. So he's in kind of this is like a back and forth situation of like, I'm gonna play a Thundersaur, I'm gonna play a Thundersaur.
Yeah, turn to turn, whose Thundersaur lives and which one is in bad spot, and then it reverses, and then again and again back and forth.
I think I would go Thundersaur 5, Gargoyle 1.
Okay.
Feels pretty strong.
Look at the game log. Seeing what is on
pass on BattleTech here. Yep, good old game log. He's really scrolling through it.
Read it all.
He's a fast reader.
I would expect so.
Yeah, it seems like a reasonable line.
From a renowned German scholar.
The only problem with the line is that he now will, his opponent will have a 10/6 Thundersaur just sort of sitting on the board. Going into level 2, though, that's not that bad. And he'll take 10 damage, and he'll probably take another 5, so taking 15 from the Thundersaur is not so bad to get your cards leveled that you want to get leveled. You could also just overwrite. You can't really overwrite the Strategist. It's a problem because then the Thundersaur won't kill his Thundersaur.
Yeah, I think you want to avoid that.
Yeah. So someone in chat has noted Hans is winning 3 gargoyles to 0.
That's a lot of gargoyles to none.
It's a pretty sizable difference for sure.
But, so far, well, Gargoyle did a lot last game.
Yeah, EvilWeevil, though, has gotten... Well, they both have Thundersaurs leveled, so we'll have to see. I think it's really going to come down to who draws Thundersaurs early on player level 2.
Gets them going ahead, because, the late Thundersaurs are much less effective than if they show up right away.
Yep, exactly. Okay. There we go. And EvilWeevil did find his level 2 Thundersaur, which is pretty amazing in combination with the Matrix Warden. He gets to go like Thundersaur 2, Matrix Warden in 4, buffing that Thundersaur. And that looks pretty strong. A 17-12 Thundersaur on 2.1. But Hans says, tut, tut, tut. Not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast.
I, too, have a 2.1 Thundersaur, too, my friend.
The problem is, that one over on the other side is large.
Yeah.
It's really large.
It's pretty tempting, I think, to just stick Thundersaur in lane 2, put Patriarch in lane 3.
In 3, yeah.
Buff the Thundersaur, move on.
Yep.
You could also accomplish essentially the same thing with the Gargoyle. So that play really comes down to a matter of what would you rather level. And I don't know. Like, we haven't been seeing the game going with player level 3 anyway. And let's say it went to 3.1. Would you rather have a level 2 Gargoyle or a level 2 Patriarch? I'm not really sure.
Wow,
Okay.
there's some cards.
He might have also been thinking, I give my Thundersaur a little more health, maybe he lives. I think if I'm EvilWeevil,
Oh god,
I play the
he drew
Warmonger
mod. He drew it.
yeah, just blow out that
That's
Thundersaur.
what I was thinking last turn. Was he only has one Warmonger mod in his deck, and there's no other way. He pumps that Thundersaur all the way up to 26 to knock it off right away.
Yeah, I mean, bam.
But he hit the Warmonger mod. Oh my god.
That's pretty brutal. That is pretty brutal. Wow. But he does have an out. I mean, you can go Strategist plus Jetpack to kill it, but it's a terrible out. And in fact, it's a kill him anyway. 36. No, it won't. Well, yeah, with the other guys it will.
The other guys it does.
I think that just wins.
Yeah, he's
That was a big pull by EvilWeevil. Oh,
one copy of Warmonger
goodness.
mod.
Yeah,
Oh god.
he pulled it out. That's game 2. So if EvilWeevil can win one more game, he will have captured the one more week of the title as champion of the Forge. And Hans right now, I saw it. He took his coffee mug. He took very gentlemanly. He took the last drink out of it and then smashed it against the wall.
I could see it.
So Hans is now down 1 coffee mug and 2 games to 1. And bam, Gargoyle. Hans probably retaliates with bam, Gargoyle. You could do something like Sentinel Aegis Knight, but we've talked about this every time it comes up. It's probably not a great first turn play. Get those good cards leveled for level 2. Probably going to go Gargoyles. Strategist would be my guess. Could get crazy and go Gargoyle Jetpack, but I think that would be a downright bad play right now because it takes away your option to be able to move around and blow stuff out.
It's a really weird opening hand.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's pretty good, though. I mean, being able to level...
I mean, you got some good cards. It's just very awkward looking against against an almost empty board.
Yeah, it's just really annoying when your opponent sticks a gargoyle in lane 3 and goes, okay, I'm going to blow out anything around him, so, don't put anyone near me, or they're all dead.
All of them.
So it's a little bit frustrating. Can't believe EvilWeevil one-outed the Warmonger mod for the win. That's why I always want 2 of those bad boys. They do that. They spike damage and win games.
Yeah, I know. They totally do that. Which is why I'm sure Hans has 3 copies in his deck, because the card can do amazing things. But yeah, 1 copy on the exact turn with the exact Thundersword needed to win.
And he got it. He got there.
He nailed it. Bam.
Do you level a Botanimate? That's kind of a question here. I don't think I do. It's frustrating doing that with Patriarch decks if you can't take the guy out right away. It is good because you get it leveled. Han seems to have lost his connection to Solforge. That's interesting. Hopefully that will resolve itself. We get to see the one-sided play. So for those of you who don't remember, there's a Gargoyle in 3 for Weevil, a Gargoyle in 1, and a Strategist in 5 for Hans. So now we're playing blind chess. This is fun. I don't know if you guys have played blind chess before, where you just kind of go E2 to E4, and they go, okay, that's a cool move. And then they say, I'll go E8, or sorry, E6 to E7 to E5 with my pawn.
I've done that.
Oh, have you? You played some blindfold chess? Yeah, it's fun.
I have, yeah.
It's good times. So, I don't know what's going on with Hans.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully he'll be back soon.
We've got the background. Hans couldn't handle the end of the last game, maybe.
I think it broke his computer. Alright, so he played a Basher, and what was the other card he played?
At the beginning, actually, someone actually called for Hans losing 2 games and then rage quitting. Oh, here we go. We're back.
I don't think Hans rage quits. Because Hans knows it's best of 5, baby. He is never out.
He still got this.
Because if he's Hans, I would assume Hans is thinking right now, like, I got this guy. I'm down 2-1, but you know what? That doesn't mean anything. I'm Hans. I mean, he had a Warmonger mod out of nowhere. Left field, right? Some fan dropped it right into his glove.
Yep.
So he went Basher or Matrix Warden, I believe, to kill off the Gargoyle.
Okay.
Prevent any shenanigans. And Hans is looking at that Thundersaur and saying, huh, lane 2 looks pretty ripe for a Thundersaur. Question after that is, do you play Battletech in 3 and risk it getting eaten with like a Roar Sentinel? Or do you go maybe Strategist in 1? I think I would probably be tempted to go Thundersaur 2, Strategist 1. Sure. Strategists are pretty darn powerful when leveled.
I've heard that.
They give you a lot of options, especially if they hang around the board and move around and do stuff. So I think that's what I would end up doing. Grow that Thundersaur.
Yeah, I like it. You can't do much against the Gargoyle right this second anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. I will say it is very suboptimal to have your Strategist in 1 and 5. Like, you look at that, if you just told someone, like, yeah, I made these really great plays, I had a Strategist in lane 1 and 5, they'd look at you like, are you insane? Like, who purposely puts their Strategist there? That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
With this board state, it's pretty
1 and 5.
I mean, you could go, like, the Strategist in 3, move the other one to 4, pumping him to 6, but you're back in that spot where, boom, Roar blows him out. Roar plus Sentinel really blows him out. And both of these players have been very cautious about not walking into those landmines, and that's why we haven't been screaming Senior Blowout 1,000 times, because they've both been cautious about not setting themselves up to be blown out. Which,
let's face it, is really all we really want.
Yeah, all we want is to be able to yell Senior Blowout like 400 times.
Yeah.
Like, remember we had that,
that would really
that time
be the ideal.
with Randall's where I had like a sheet of paper and I was tracking all the blowouts. I'm like, that's blowout number 27 for Xerander.
I remember. Yep.
Yeah, we're not seeing that today.
No, not today.
And Hans has
Oh,
gone completely
we
off.
lost Hans.
All right, interesting. Is he gonna get technical knockout here? I don't know.
I don't know. I hope not. Hey, look, it's me.
You're a handsome devil there. So we should do a straw poll. Whose face would you rather see there, Hans or Jake? I like that Jake has all these different looks. In Jake's wedding pictures, he looks like he's a 45-year-old guy from the 70s. In this particular picture, he looks like, a 23-year-old dude out by the sea. And then he's got his McLovin phase, where he looks like a 16-year-old virgin. So he's got all these different looks he can pull off. I'm not sure any of them are good, but they're all different, which is in itself good.
Yeah, you gotta mix it up.
All right, I'm going to try to invite Hans back to the call. And there we go.
All
Hans
right.
back.
There we go. Welcome back, Hans.
Excellent. More sands of Hans. All right, I'm sure what's going on there. Let's do that. Okay. I believe Weevil played his turn, and he did an Aegis Knight blowout. He went blockade, Aegis Knight, boom. See you, Thunderstorm. People are talking about this break brought to you by Jake's Energy Drink. They can cramp up even LeBron James. Don't worry, he's working on the formula.
It'll get better.
It's almost worked out. Almost. Not quite.
Almost.
Not quite.
It's getting there.
Alright, so Hans is entirely back now. And what do you do if you're Hans? Yeah, first step, move over, don't let him eat him.
Yep, for sure.
Second step, again, you put Thundersword in the middle and then not be able to play Battletech. I think you have to. And then, yeah, that looks perfect. Patriarch over in 5. You got a board. You're on your way. More importantly than just having a board, you have a Thundersword board. Which
It's the best kind of board.
It's a thing of beauty, son. It's a thing of beauty. Oh, Weevil, do you roar and pray to the Solforge gods that your opponent does not have a roar of their own? Because if they don't, then you get to
That's ball game.
trade off the Thundersword. If you don't, if they do have a roar, you don't trade off the Thundersword and he grows to absurd levels. So I don't know. Tough call. Either way, he does get to do... He has good cards he gets to play, which is nice. If he decides not to go the roar route, he can just stick to good cards and go like Patriarch, Gargoyle, and be pretty pleased, I would think.
Moderately pleased.
The thing if I go that approach, I would have played the Patriarch in 4, but he's not. He's going the roar because he's thinking, well, I got to be able to handle this Thundersword, and it's now or never. Because if he doesn't do that, the Thundersword just eats him and grows anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to do something.
And Hans, I would think, finishes up the player level with another Thundersword. Seems pretty reasonable. You could put it in maybe, I guess, lane 2. He can grow for a little bit for free.
Checking the combat log.
Someone in chat said that you do look like McLovin, so that's accurate.
That's one of the looks, yep.
Yep, it might be my favorite look. It might be.
Well,
my
thank you.
favorite
Keep
look.
that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if it's your wife's favorite look too. It's like she can pretend like you're all shy and innocent. We'll have to get her on later for her thoughts on Jake's best looks. Alright. But either way, I think I go Thundersword in lane 2. And you're going to have to give up the other Thundersword. So I suppose... I don't know. I think you have to play the Gargoyle. But again, I don't think you want to put it in range of his Gargoyle. The only thought there would be... if you do put it in range of his Gargoyle, he can't kill both the Patriarch and the Gargoyle with the Gargoyle. But if he pulls, say, a Sentinel 2 to get the blowout, he could blow out the Patriarch. So I suppose you go Gargoyle 1, Thundersword 2, and be not thrilled with where you're at, but not completely devastated either. Alright, and while we wait, I think we will do another world famous giveaway.
Thank God for giveaways.
Alright, so let's see, how do we do this? How do we reset what we got here? Like that? Yeah, that's how we do it. Wow, Petard already got registered somehow. Oh, so that's why. Alright, so let's say this giveaway will be Hans. There we go.
Hans.
It's a very elaborate giveaway key. You must type in Hans, and then you will be registered.
Make sure you're following the stream. No sad pandas.
Yes. The worst part is when people win and then go, "What? I don't win anything."
It happens. Not much else to say about it.
Alright, so it didn't work. Alright, now, if you were one of the first people to type Hans, you should type Hans again, because I was not registering it. I'm not sure
That's tiny grams for you.
Hey, watch yourself, Jake. Watch yourself. Lest you wreck yourself, I believe is the saying, how it goes.
Something like that.
Okay. There we go. And then I would think Thundersword 2. No, Thundersword 4. That's very interesting.
That is interesting.
I feel like that play allows EvilWeevil to just move the Gargoyle into 3 or buff it and blow out the Thundersword. I feel like it gives EvilWeevil all the options. I'm not sure I love that play.
I don't even know if he needs options. He'll just pick the most evil one of them anyways. You're
just saying Hans. You're not choosing the winner. All right, so he did go for 2. I think that was the better play. And here we go. EvilWeevil got his 2.1 Gargoyle, which is pretty strong. But as we're seeing, it's not as strong as a 2.1 Thundersword would have been. So what does he do? Does he play Sentinel? Because he could go like move the Gargoyle. Probably not. But he's got a lot of choices. So he could go move the Gargoyle to 5, Gargoyle 3, Sentinel. I think I like better actually putting his new Gargoyle in 1, since Hans's Gargoyle is trapped, and it looks like that's probably why he didn't want to Thundersoar there.
Mm-hmm.
Gargoyle in 1. Move the Gargoyle to 5, Sentinel in 4, and he's got a really strong board. That Gargoyle can't get away. Looks like he's going to jetpack him, though, which is kind of an interesting play also. It makes it so the Thundersword doesn't grow. The only downside of that is it feels like Hans has a lot of ways to make it grow on his own anyway. I think I would have been okay with letting it grow by 2 and sort of handling it that way with a really big menacing board. I think it's one of the first plays that I just blatantly disagree with. Not saying it's incorrect, but I disagree with the play.
Whoa, tiny grimes.
So there we go. It still looks like it's going to work, but I think I like the other play better. Would have left him with another guy on the board.
Fair enough.
All right, so Hans has millions of options here of what he wants to do. It would be tempting. I don't know if it's the right play. It would be sorely tempting to go like Patriarch, Jetpack on the Thundersoar, go over, kill the Gargoyle in 3.
The flying Thundersoar.
Monster Thundersoar. The problem is level 2, and almost certainly EvilWeevil will have a way to kill him. So I think while it's a fun, crazy play that looks good in the moment, I think it would be a bad play overall.
Awfully tempting, though. I mean, Come on, we built entire decks around flying thunderstorms.
And the other problem is
It's an archetype.
This is a kind of a weak 2.1 for what EvilWeevil did. Having that gargoyle there is fairly menacing. I mean, for me, I know I play the Patriarch. Get that Thundersaur leveled. Or not
Sure.
leveled, but bigger.
Bigger, grow.
The problem is that blockade, it's so hard to do any damage to him. Like, to do any damage, you would have to go Roar plus Warmonger mod, which would actually kill it. But it would leave him with... I guess... No. It would just leave him with a single 2/14 Thundersaur against multiple gargoyles. I don't think I could go down that route.
Yeah, no, I think that's too much of a commitment, ignoring too much else that's on the board.
Yeah. And the nice thing is, the blockade is kind of trapped over there, because if it decides to try to move back over, Thundersaur smiles at him and goes, "Hey, what's up? Thundersaur's still here. How you doing, man? Good to see you. You come to feed the Thundersaur?"
You know what really swung this match that I'm kind of disappointed about is, if there was any alternate art Thundersaurs here.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
They always win.
always. They never lose.
So...
Would have been a quick 3-0.
The problem is playing, like, normally I would say, just play the Gargoyle, play the Patriarch, play to level 3. There's not going to be a level 3. We haven't seen a level 3 yet. And if there is, it's not going to be very deep into level 3. So I think you got to play the board here a lot more than you usually would. And I'm not sure playing a Gargoyle here does anything. Because he just either eats it or moves out of the way. So it might be best just to go, like, Patriarch and Roar. I think that's probably the right play, and then he has to do something with his guy.
Oh
No.
Mousing on the gargoyle.
EvilWeevil
Oh,
said,
he's in between.
EvilWeevil said he might have internet problems, and
Lovely.
he wasn't kidding. Yeah, it's interesting how normally when we talk about level difficulties, it's not 2.1, it's 3.1. But in the AU mirror, level 2 is much more where it's at. Unless both players just strike out on Thundersaurs and Gargoyles and are just kind of left and milling around. Alright, so it looks like we should be able to get Evil back now. Oh, there's the game changer. There it is. The level 2 Thundersaur plus Patriarch. Alright, we have the EvilWeevil back. He'll share his screen in a moment, and he'll be ready to go. He still has the same hand. That's good.
Yep, that would be awkward if he didn't.
He somehow has a new hand. Let's see. He can't quite kill the Thundersaur, so I can't really imagine he wants to engage him, but then what? What does he do otherwise? He can't play his cards. Unless he wants to Warmonger mod. Oh man, could he dare to go Matrix Warden 4, Warmonger mod,
Oh my
all
god.
on the Gargoyle?
On the gargoyle? Just start swinging?
Well, you know what? He could do it on the blockade, move over and eat the Thundersaur. Maybe that's the play. I think that is the play, actually.
Oh, that's totally the play.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty brutal, actually.
So that is an exciting play.
Yep. That's pretty rough.
What do you even do against that?
Yeah, I mean, you could also go Sentinel plus Knight would be pretty good as well. It would let you kill the Patriarch and eat it. You move over, it would let you kill the Thundersaur straight out. So maybe that's actually the better play.
I don't know. He's going for it.
Yeah, he's going for that play. I, you know what? This might be crazy.
That is far less exciting.
I think I like the Matrix Warden play better.
No, I'm not gonna lie. That gives him a board of 5-0.
I know, it's pretty brutal. It is pretty brutal. But man, having that one giant blockade that can't be reckoned with would have been
So sexy.
That'd have been tough. I mean, he does
Yeah.
20 every turn.
And what are you going to do about it? 10 armor? Like,
Yeah,
the other way? That's how you get Bolt Blockade banned. Just saying.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what I would have done. I'll have to go back and look at the tape, but I think I might have done that. I don't see that Hans has choices here. I mean, he could try to do Blockade Knight. I think his choice, though, I think he has to play Thundersword Patriarch. It's just a matter of how does he do it best, especially with all these guys as defenders. He has a hard time actually pushing through damage.
Yeah, the only guy attacking this turn, up on that 5-man board, is Bolt Blockade.
On the plus side, they're not going anywhere. So this is like his one chance to really trap that gargoyle. So he could go, say, Thundersword in 2, Gargoyle Patriarch in 3, maybe even better, Thundersword in 4, Patriarch in 3.
Sure.
And you have the chance of wiping out those gargoyles, but then you also have the chance that he draws a roar and just smashes you.
Blows you right out.
Or even, I guess the Sentinel doesn't really blow you out because he's not killing your guys, but it's pretty rough. So I don't know, we'll see. I think that's what I would seriously consider is Thundersword 4, Patriarch 3. Looks like he's probably going to go down that route.
Get them while they're stuck. Yeah.
And to answer a viewer question, yes, every episode now goes up onto YouTube. It'll either be up tonight or tomorrow, depending on how things work out. Okay, so here we go. Continuing. Can EvilWeevil put this thing away before the Thunderstorm mauls him? Now, just think about this. If he'd had that blockade that was big now, he might have more options for being able to handle that Thunderstorm.
He might not even give a darn about it because he'd just blockade everything in sight.
He would just crush the world.
The world itself.
Everything now this way, everything's stuck, and there's really not that much you can do.
Yeah, I mean, see, the 5 lanes is being an actual detriment here.
And they're just not that impressive either. I really think,
it's all small guys.
I think the other play would have been the better play. And that Thunder, oh god. I just saw Hans's next hand. I think Hans is going to win this game.
Oh my
I
goodness.
think we're going to best of 5. The question is, where do you put him?
No. Okay. I thought you had a different dumb
No.
question.
I'm not going to say gargoyle. I'm not going to mention the word gargoyle. I think I would go...
See, I have so little faith in you, I even thought you might have said Warmonger mod.
Oh, that's interesting, but... Oh, wow.
Don't do it.
Double
No.
Warmonger mod. Let's do
Like,
the
you
math,
could.
folks.
You could make it 60.
60. It would be 55 he would take.
Actually, do you just do it? Because what does he do? You win.
I think that wins.
You
It's
do it.
level 2, so he can't Botanimate.
He can't Botanimate, and he just played Aegis Knight.
Yep. And he'll be at 8 health.
Facing down a 67 power
So, how many
Thunderstorm
Aegis Knights
attacking.
did he play? He probably only played 1 on this player level. No, it must be 2. So he only has 1 left in the deck. And I
No,
don't
you
remember
double
how many
mod. You double mod. 100% double mod.
Double mod is the slightly risky move because it allows him to go Aegis Knight, Sentinel together and blow him out, and then he loses. Hans loses if he gets blown out. If Hans goes double Thundersword, he wins. Like he just wins this game.
I don't think he wins soon enough, and he could lose.
So, all right. So the other day, I was playing against Turkus,
Mm-hmm.
and this happened to me. Like, I got a Death Weaver, just like the whole board was full. It was in the Kaleri Standard Tournament. He had 1 out, 1 singular out. He just could go Sentinel 3, Aegis Knight, and it had to be together or he lost. And he just went Sentinel 3, Aegis Knight. So that's the kind of stuff that happens when I play Solforge, and so I tend to play a little bit safer. So for me, I don't think I double mod. If I'm Hans, I very well consider double modding.
I think if you play double Thunderstorm, you give yourself a much larger chance of losing.
I suppose. Except for that, Evil's guys have very, very little threat. But he's doing it. I like the cojones.
Yeah,
Go
he's doing
for
it. It's the right play.
Hans
I mean, let's
does
say
it.
you play double Thunderstorm. Do you think you have a 10% chance of losing the match?
Yeah, probably, which is probably lower odds than... Although
Exactly.
he does also have Vault Blockade, so it's Vault Blockade and Sentinels into that last Aegis Knight. But
Yeah, but he played Sentinel Knight last turn, so...
Exactly. Let's see, he's got 17, 22, 27, 29, 31, 33, 35 he can do.
He's got nothing. He's
He's
dead.
dead. Yep.
It's over.
All right.
And that is how you win a game.
That's how you go to Game 5.
That is how you
On
do
the
it.
longest episode of The Forge ever by a large amount. All right.
Oh my god, is it ever?
Game 5 it is. The digital card game roundup, which was supposed to begin at 2, has now been postponed till, I guess, 3:30?
It's like I said, just get it in before 5. That's all.
Oh, my. Oh, my. All right. Let's see. I believe I gave away... Was this the second code, or was that the first code? Remember how many I've given away? Here, let me check.
I'm thinking 2.
I'll be able to
I could be wrong, though. That's 4 games. It's probably 3.
I gave away 1 code. 1 code so far. Okay. So, someone go ahead and challenge Hans. That'd be cool. Challenge away.
Challenge.
And let's go ahead and do the giveaway. Alright. Giveaway goes to... Where's the roll button? Boom! Card Captor. Congratulations, sir. Capture all
Congratulations,
cards.
Card Captor.
He is also in my, what is the name of that game? Realm of the Mad God guild. Gotta admit, I haven't fired that up in a few days.
I was going to say, how's that been going? I've
Okay,
been
so here's a real
busy.
question. Okay. Obviously, you play Gargoyle, except for one thing. One minor detail. Thundersaurs have won every game. Do you just empty lane Thundersaur and finally admit it? Just admit it outright. There's only one card that matters in this matchup. His name's Thundersaur, and he's right there in my hand. I think I still play the Gargoyle.
You think so? I don't know. Thundersights. I don't like passing up on Thundersaur in AU Mirror.
Oh my goodness. This is tough. And Hans is really thinking carefully about his very first turn of the game. I will admit, this is why my daughter is not the biggest fan of Hans. Since
All
we have
that
plenty
thinking.
of time, I'll tell the story.
All that thinking.
I was matched up against Hans in a Forge Watch qualifier tournament.
Yes, he does it.
All right. Well, we'll continue the story in a moment. So we've
Oh,
got
God.
the Thundersaur on the board. I think you just have to ignore it if you're EvilWeevil and you don't have a good hand.
Okay, but Tiny Grams.
Yeah.
How many lanes can you ignore at once?
Yes, but he doesn't realize that Hans is only going to be playing Thundersaurs for the next 28 minutes. He doesn't know that. Alright. He's back. Cool. So he's going to share his screen and then we'll be ready to move along.
Alright.
So I assume he's going to play the Sentinel and the Matrix Warden, if I'm remembering his hand correctly. He could go 2 Matrix Wardens as well. But generally when you have Aegis Knight that you're playing, it's nice to get those Sentinels leveled so that you can really exploit them later. And he says it's not letting him screen share. And if that's the case, that's fine, I suppose. We can just move along.
It would be good if he could reshare, though.
It would be good. would be good. I'm actually going to hang up on him. Bam.
Wow. Wow. Shut down.
If you can't screen share, you be done, son.
You're done,
Yeah.
son. No
Maybe.
call for you.
Maybe that will help him be able to screen share. Yeah, there you go. It's probably just
Maybe that'll motivate him.
stuck in limbo. Alright, so there we go. That's pretty good. A 3/7 Battletech will now die instantly to that Sentinel. But Hans just kind of doing one of the Mr. Burns, excellent, in his hands with his 2 Thundersaurs as he goes Thundersaur lane 5. And I think I Thundersaur in 3. And then if you get... I mean, I guess it would be tough. You'd have to have the right buff. Could it be worth actually empty laning another Thundersaur? Because like you said, he's got to play cards in some lanes, right?
Yep.
Maybe empty lane's the right play. I don't think I've ever said before, I think I should just empty lane this Thundersaur instead of blocking. But
I'd empty lane it.
Perhaps right here, you empty lane it. What lane would you put it in? 2 or 4? I think I would do 2.
I think I would do 2 as well.
All right.
Oh, good. We got our screen share back.
Yep, we are on the way.
Awesome. On the way to greatness.
All right, so Hans is still debating the second play. He's trying to decide between 2 and 4. And just to make us look foolish, he says 2. 2 is a madman. I'm going to 4.
Well, you know, it's a close call in my opinion. They both have upsides and downsides. Either one is definitely totally fine.
And what do you see as the upsides and downsides of lane 2 and 4?
Well, it really depends on what you expect your opponent to do, because 5 is definitely going to be an action lane. So the card that I'm personally thinking of when deciding where that Thundersaur is going is a Loin Strategist and where I might need to play him next turn.
Mm-hmm. I'm also thinking Jetpack for if he's got something on the move. Having 2 of them next to each other might be nice to have.
Right.
I was thinking maybe have the 2 undamaged one next to each other, so if he's jetpacking around, he gets kind of stuck. Uh-oh. So EvilWeevil is continuing to have internet difficulties, but he's back.
Okay.
Right, so he decided to take the approach of, yeah, you're not going to give me any lanes to play in? Boom, son, I'm not going to play in any lanes. So now it's like this weird stalemate game of like, I don't have to play in lanes. Fine, be that way, man. And Hans, if he wants, he can do something like blockade and maybe, I don't know if he wants to do it in 2 or 3 and then drop the Aegis Knight, blow him out. It might be better just to go Battletech. So now the Thundersaurs are kind of online. He can kill that Matrix Warden.
Right.
That might be a better approach. What do you think? What would you do? Would you go for the blowout, or would you play like Battletech into Strategist?
I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
I think I'd go for the blowout.
I think so too, because the Battletech just gets eaten by the Sentinel. The Strategist gets eaten by the Gargoyle. So I think probably the right play is to go blockade Aegis Knight, and that's just kind of a matter of who you want to kill. I think I would want to blow out the Gargoyle and have a 9/1 Sentinel hanging around, which isn't that scary. You can literally kill it with any card in your deck, and you're not worried. And then next turn you draw your Patriarch, and then you start really piling on the pain.
And then, I mean, a Patriarch this turn would have been real nice. Real nice.
Yes, Patriarch this turn would have been beautiful. Though this play is pretty solid. I mean, he has 1 threat in that Gargoyle because it moves around and it's dead. But Hans has like a whole board of non-entities.
Well, yeah, he's got a whole board of 0 Thundersaurs.
Right, he's like, I've got all of this nothingness and it's all mine. So if you're EvilWeevil, do you look at this and go, oh dear lord, 3 Thundersaurs. I need to Patriarch one of these. I mean, I gotta Botanimate one of these guys off the board.
He should play Botanimate. Or he should discard Botanimate, but either way, he should level Botanimate, because he is going to need that Botanimate in player level 2.
And the rest of his hand is pretty lackluster also.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not accomplishing much anyways.
I mean, he could go like...
There's not a lot of synergy between any 2 cards in his hand when it comes down to it.
He doesn't really have a good spot to play two guys anyway. I mean, I guess he can play two guys, but if he plays like a blockade in front of a blockade and then a Patriarch in 5, next turn it comes back around. He doesn't really have anywhere to play anything again. So by only playing one guy this turn, if you go like Botanimate on one of his Thundersaurs and then a Patriarch, in addition to everything, get rid of a Thundersaur and you give yourself room to work. And maybe that alone is worth playing it. This has been a weird game for Hans just to keep whiffing on his Patriarchs. You got to assume next turn he gets 2. Okay. So he doesn't even play the Patriarch. I think I would have definitely played the Patriarch knowing we're going to player level 2. I mean, it's interesting so that if that Thundersaur becomes a 2/14 off a Patriarch, he's not doing anything ever. I guess I can get behind that, but I don't know. I like having that Patriarch leveled. You know what I think he does here? I think he Warmonger mods the 0/12 to make it an even better 0/12 Thundersaur.
A buffed 0/12.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
This is actually really tricky because you could go Aegis Knight in the middle, blowing out the Sentinel, and Roar, and have a pretty darn solid board, but you're going, very quickly into 2.1, and they're all not doing a ton. Or you could just level 2 Gargoyles and go, look, I got Gargoyles leveled. I'm winning. I've got 3 Thundersaurs, 2 Gargoyles leveled. So what would you do, Jake? Would you play here to go into player level 2 with a better deck? Or would you play to have the more dominant board now, as we've seen so many of these games ending pretty early with these dominant boards?
In this case, I think I would play for the better deck. It looks like he agrees because
Looks like
this is not
both.
Yeah, this is not the same style of game as the first 4 because there is not big pressure on either side of the board.
Really?
Even though Hans has all 5 lanes filled.
Yeah, it's and then we saw last game, EvilWeevil got the lane fill. It completely backfired. Right? Like
it really did.
He had the pressure play. I think that play would have won the game had he blockade and made just a huge blockade. And by filling the board, he actually kind of screwed himself. And so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, and if he had the giant blockade, he could have knocked off the Thundersaur.
Yeah, exactly. And it might not even been in that spot either because there wouldn't have been as many lanes full. Guys could have actually moved around. He would have had options.
Yeah.
But here, I don't think he can take advantage of Hans the same way because he's got some interesting decisions here. He has the same sort of decisions. What does he want leveled going into level 2? Because he's got 2 Gargoyles and a Patriarch. What are going to have the most impact? What has the most impact on the board right now? And if he plays a Patriarch, is that just a bad idea because he's growing that Thundersaur slowly but surely?
I wouldn't say bad per se.
I think it's dangerous.
It's a very interesting game. All right, here, right now, on the spot, what 2 cards would you play? 1.4.
Play double Gargoyle.
Double Gargoyle? Yeah.
Gargoyle in 2.
That's what I expected you to say.
Gargoyle in... The problem is Gargoyle in 5 leaves you open to a Sentinel blowout, but it would have to be Sentinel plus Roar. I think I would go Gargoyle 2, and then... I'm not sure. I guess 5, but I don't like 5 because he gets trapped, so maybe 3, so he has the ability to move, but he can't move because the Thundersaur is in 1, so I guess 5. Like, it's such a weird board state. I've never seen a board like this with...
By process of elimination,
with just
lane
empty
5.
lane Thundersaurs sitting all over the board and going, I dare you to go into any of these lanes, they're all bad choices. Very weird board state. So he could Jetpack, Warmonger mod the Thundersaur, move it over, kill the Sentinel, kill the Gargoyle. I think it'd be a terrible play. I think I want to play Thundersaur 2, hands down. Don't even ask me any more questions. That's what I'm playing.
Yeah. Thundersaur 2 is kind of the big man on the block in this match.
Question is, what else do you play? You could level a Warmonger mod to be able to trade in 5. You could just jetpack your new Thundersaur, make him a threat. The problem is since you've never leveled a single Patriarch, you'll be able to get the 1 pump, but keeping at 0, I don't know, it's just going to be a weird game, not being able to let him get over 3. So I think I would do that, though. What would you do here?
Well, I mean, Thundersaur 2 is a given.
Yeah, of course.
Where is sort of a question. I would consider... what about... Okay, how about Combat, Thundersaur 5, Jetpack?
Combat, Thundersaur 5, Jetpack it.
That Gargoyle is trapped in lane 5. It'll have to do combat with the Thundersaur. The Thundersaur will be 3 power and kill it.
That's reasonable. I was thinking 2 because the Aegis Knight will die, almost certainly. Then he'll be able to have some room to move around. But I guess he won't because he's going to be continually filling the board because 1 and 4 will always be full. So he doesn't actually have that room to maneuver, even though it kind of looks like he will. So
yeah, I kind of like 2 better though, because if you put it in 5, your own Thundersaur is just stuck there, unable to move anyways.
Yeah.
Because of your own Thundersaur.
Right. So, and that lane 4 is never going anywhere.
No,
so
it's
I think I like 2 better.
Okay, it's an interesting lane 4 because you know what it does? It prevents EvilWeevil from playing Aegis Knight.
Sort of. I mean, certainly he could go he's probably going to roar at some point, and then Aegis Knight. But you know what it really does? Is it prevents EvilWeevil from roaring. Roar becomes...
That's what I mean. He can't just roar at some point, because if he roars, that's not good either.
Oh, this is an unexpected play. So it looks like he's going to go...
I like it, though, because I think our line sucks, so there's a better line there.
Yeah, so Strategist 2, Thundersaur 5 post-combat.
Post-combat, yeah.
To get yet another Strength 0 Thundersaur. The problem, of course, is it allows EvilWeevil to play a Thundersaur in front of it and continue to have 3-0 attack guys on the board. I don't think I've ever seen such a terrifying yet innocuous board simultaneously.
All 5 lanes filled with a strategist on board. Combined power, 13.
Isn't that combined power 11? Oh, no, sorry. A Thundersaur is a 2 now.
Yeah, you got to count the 2 over there.
That was my bad. I almost missed it.
Yeah.
And doing Thundersaur Roar in 5 is really dangerous. I mean, I think he wants to play this Roar, but I'm not sure that he can. And even the Patriarch is a little bit dangerous. Oh boy, what does he do here? It's such a crazy game.
A little bit insane. I'm glad it's game 5 though. End on
crazy note. I mean, does he go just Gargoyle 3, Battle, Matrix Warden 2, buffing the Gargoyle?
That's not bad.
Seems like a reasonable play.
We got a game log coming up. All this game is missing now is for another 2 turns, and then somebody wins out of nowhere with double Warmonger.
Yeah, definitely rooting for that.
Yeah.
Definitely rooting for the double Warmonger mod finishing in. We have EvilWeevil having...
There goes the connection.
Yeah, some connection issues. He's trying
In fairness, his connection was good right through the full length of a normal Forge.
That is very true. It was only after the Forge became the longest Forge known to man that connection issues happened. Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and do another giveaway here after he makes his play. So, okay, so now he's going this route. He's decided to be a man/insane. I don't know. I'm not sure I like that line. I mean, his Thundersaur will be down to 8 health. And so if he can take it out, he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
If he can't, he's going to be completely boned. So we'll see what happens. as Hans is staring down the barrel of jetpack. And otherwise, a pretty inconsequential hand from the looks of it. I mean, he can go Patriarch finally.
Mm-hmm.
Himself a little bit better Thundersaur. I don't know, he doesn't have a lot of great plays here, though. It'd be kind of tempting to go, like, Jetpack, move over the Aegis Knight, kill the Gargoyle, Battletech 3. But I don't think I like that play. I feel like Han should be putting guys to the board here rather than doing cutesy stuff. I mean, it does take away Sentinel blowout options, but I don't know.
Thundersaur's already killing Gargoyle in lane 5. That's nice. What's he going to do about these Gargoyles in lanes 1 and 2?
Alright, let's go ahead and do another code here, another key.
How many codes do we have left?
We have, looks like one more code for the Forge, but then I have whole piles of codes from so many different games for the digital card game roundup coming up. I have 10 codes from Infinity Wars. I've got 3 beta keys, 3 drafts, like 5 codes from Solforge.
I think we should make a run with them all. Just take them and run.
It's gotten too late. We're taking all the codes and we're going home. Alright.
Sorry,
so,
guys.
let's see. Oh, that didn't reset things. Why not? Oh, wait. That's probably the problem. Let's see. How do I do a new giveaway? Like this. This is how I do it. This is how we roll. Alright, I'm missing plays, Jake. You gotta tell me what happened.
Alright, I'm watching. The Thundersaur stares down EvilWeevil menacingly.
Alright.
Oh, it gets Botanimated.
I saw that. I thought he might do that.
The menace wasn't enough.
Really good spot. The problem is, this Gargoyle is going to die. But having a Battletech in lane 2 is not that scary. You just move you move away from him. You don't really care.
I mean, it's a 5/9. I mean, it's a relevant thing. It exists. We should acknowledge its presence.
Okay. I don't know what's going on over there. You could play Nexus Tech, which is kind of interesting. It doesn't actually let the Gargoyle do anything, so I think it's kind of a bad play. I think I would move that Gargoyle over and then perhaps Aegis Knight in 5. What's he going to do? Yeah, Aegis Knight in 5 seems reasonable. Oh, yeah, especially since it kills the Thundersaur. Hello. That's not just reasonable, It is the downright correct play.
Really?
And he moves over, and Hans, if he doesn't find... well, he would have to find a lot of pumps to kill that Gargoyle. He's just going to get eaten.
Yeah. He would need... Well, he'd need a Warmonger mod.
And Hans has a
He could do it.
pretty bad hand. He actually couldn't. A Warmonger mod would only put him to 10.
Okay, first play the Strategist.
Okay, yes. If you're, I mean, you just said the Warmonger mod. Yes, if you play them both together, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
This game does look like it's going to go to player level 3. And as such, do you start doing things like Patriarch to get that online? Do you just go with your
Patriarch buffs with Sapling? Patriarch buff to Sapling doesn't actually accomplish much unless you then put Strategist in 4, but
that doesn't really accomplish anything either. It would basically just be a leveling decision. I'm not sure there's a great play on board. You know, it might be the best play,
honestly,
actually.
I would play Strategist and Warmonger mod, the Tactician, get the Gargoyle out of here.
Yeah, Strategist 3, Warmonger mod. It's probably the best play. It's not a great play. I feel like it's putting you in kind of a tough spot if your opponent draws well. Because he's got 2 guys on the board already. If he puts down 2 level 2s, it's really tough for you. But if he doesn't, you've taken away his major threat. Because that Gargoyle is a huge, huge problem. He will dominate the rest of this game if he's not reckoned with, and he has a chance here to do it.
I would take him out. It's also not a bad thing to get the mod level because we are going to play level 3. There is going to be a Thundersaur 3 coming from Hans at some point. So that could actually be relevant again later in the game.
Yeah, I think that was the right play. Now we go back the other way, and probably I would jetpack that Vault Blockade, and I mean, so the play I'm considering is jetpack Aegis Knight.
Right.
The problem is there's not a lot of damage that you're doing. We're going to player level 3. Those guys are all pretty small, and you could just level a Thundersaur. So it's.
I kind of like the big scary blockade, though. I mean, that's a tough guy to deal with.
Yeah, I think I do as well. I think probably that's the way to go. Is you go blockade, you go jetpack, move him over, blow him out with the Aegis Knight. You've got 3 guys on board. One is essentially a 6/14. Not incredibly scary, but you can continue to buff it. You can continue to Aegis Knight shenanigans. And 14, not a lot takes out a 14. And now that it has move, it's going to be even harder to take it out. Okay, let's go ahead and complete our last giveaway. Oh yes, or begin the next giveaway.
Right. Good luck, everybody. Or no, wait. Do they have to type something now?
It's not erasing them for some reason. Ah, trash. There we go. Okay, let's put in Solforge. Type in Solforge to qualify for the last giveaway during the Forge, and he did it. Oh, did he? Did he not? How come he only has 1 guy on the board?
No, Tiny Ground is confused.
What did he play as the second card? I missed it. He Jetpack Roar. Is that what he did?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you'll notice the HP on the Vault Blockade went up.
I'm not sure I like that.
He made a giant blockade. I can respect that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. I guess 8 attack from that blockade is a lot more impressive than only 6. But still, having 3 guys on board versus only 2. Yeah, maybe he's thinking like a lone Aegis Knight just chilling on the board against level 3 Thundersaurs is not that great of a plan. So perhaps that is his thought process there. I don't actually want random low-level guys if I can have 1 larger guy. All right. Oh, I was going to tell you the story about Hans and my daughter.
That's right.
So I was playing in a Forge Watch qualifier, and my family wanted to take a hike. And I said, well, it's all right. After we do this, we will. We just finished the Swiss. Now all we have to do is finish the next round. And my wife said, well, since you can do this on the computer, why don't you come downstairs and we'll just eat lunch together while you play your round. And I was paired up against Hans. So it was... We'll continue this in a moment as we talk about this play. So Vault Blockade. Let's see. He's a third. No, he's an 18. So he's not going to be able to take him out. Period. I can see why he's hesitant to put him in 3, because he can just move out of the way, and now he can't play a battle tech ever in that lane because that blockade is just stuck there for a long time until Hans can pull one of his 2 jetpacks, and he might not even want to play it. So, seems reasonable. Drop it there. Okay, so we sit down to eat, and
right.
now EvilWeevil has his turn. So EvilWeevil,
best story ever.
Yep, he could buff him to 11, which is not enough to take out the blockade.
Not enough to hit the blockade.
You know what?
For damage.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it to just keep continually buffing this guy knowing there's nearly nothing that can hit him? Or do you put out some more threats and go like another blockade and that sentinel going into level 3, or maybe even better, the sentinel and the patriarch going into level 3, knowing you have a wider range of threats?
I'd be awfully tempted to just keep buffing.
Keep hammering that Vault Blockade, knowing that
Yeah.
16 is really hard to come by for AU, even in level 3.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough thing to come by. I mean, it'd be like if you could jetpack over the Vault Blockade and find an Aegis Knight. That could work. Potentially another big Vault Blockade and Aegis Knight. There's not a ton of answers, though.
Not a lot of things get up there.
But yeah, I don't know. Going into level 3, though, it's such a small amount of buff. I think I would be pretty tempted just to play a Sentinel and a Patriarch and just kind of get into level 3 with some more threats on the board and with some better cards in my deck. If he decides to go with Matrix Warden, you can't really fault him. It's a pretty dang big Vault Blockade. I mean, if Hans can't find an answer for that Vault Blockade will surely win the game. But looking at Hans's hand, we know in fact Hans does have an answer for that Vault Blockade.
Hans always has.
And we will have a sad,
oh my god,
sad man here. So
oh my
sad.
god, here it comes.
Vault Blockade into Aegis Knight, wipes 2 guys.
In need of ban.
And Aegis Knight, I imagine, goes in lane 5. In lane 1, he just risks him getting picked up for no reason by the Sentinel.
Yeah, I would 5 him. You also want to leave the middle open, so.
Yeah, exactly.
In need of ban.
What's really interesting is he had a Roar. He had a Roar 3 in his hand. EvilWeevil was going to Roar 3 that blockade and just wreck this game.
Not today, sir.
Not anymore. Oh my goodness, and a Matrix Warden. That would have been such a cool play. But it looks like he probably Matrix Wardens into... Yeah. That's still pretty strong, though. I mean, that Sentinel, he's going to need to find an answer for him. Certainly, Sentinel plus Warmonger mod will do the trick. But he will still have that Matrix Warden staring him down for 13. I mean, this is kind of the problem. Like, Hans's play was amazing, except for the fact that he now has 2 blockades that do nothing. Sitting there going, hey, what's up? If we ever hit a jetpack, maybe we do something. It's like his Thundersoar issue, only 1,000 times less
only
productive.
worse. Yeah.
It was like a one-off rather than a constant threat. You could Warmonger mod to kill a Matrix Orb. I don't think that would be worth it.
No, I actually like Sentinel 1.
Yep.
Warmonger mod the Sentinel to knock off the other Sentinel and live.
Question is, which one would you level? The 1 or the 2? Let's assume we get to player level 4, which is kind of doubtful. I think I go for the 2.
I go for the 2 because triple is like, a free win on any Thundersoar of any size.
So which one would you go for?
Triple to 60, like.
Yeah. So you saying you would level the 2?
Yeah, I would level the 2.
I would level the 1 2. Reason being, you're going to have more level 3s that you want to be able to target, and it gives you just more times when you can actually play Warmonger mods instead of, because the worst case scenario is when you have the wind, right? So you have like your Thundersoar 3, and you've got the win with your Warmonger mod. And I've done this before, where I went even to select it and drag it onto him. Like, why wouldn't it go on the... Oh, no, it's soft level gated. No! It's a pretty terrible feeling, I'm going to have to admit.
Life in the life of Tiny Graphs.
Yeah, so Hans takes the same thought process, I think, and decides to go with that.
Yeah, which is totally fine. And in this game, it's probably correct, because he doesn't need to steal a win with it in this game.
Right.
This game is a complete grind.
Yeah, exactly. Question is, what do you do here as EvilWeevil? Because that Sentinel... Okay, so you could go Gargoyle 5, Sentinel 3, and the Gargoyle should live and be fine. I think I would be more tempted, though, to go Gargoyle 3, Matrix Warden 1, buffing him, trading the Sentinel.
A little bit riskier, but...
It gives you a really big Gargoyle. The only problem with that line is there's not going to be a lot of places to move said Gargoyle. Because those blockades are on the board.
Yeah, right. You want to avoid those lanes.
But you
really
would
cuts
assume...
down your options. You
kind of assume that he'll... lanes 1 will trade with your Matrix Warden. Lane 5 will trade, which gives you 2 empty lanes if you do block the Gargoyle. So, I think it'd be okay. but it's a little riskier than it usually is because maybe Hans could find some play to box in that Gargoyle.
Right.
But I think I like that. I think I would go Gargoyle 3, Matrix Warden 1 as my play.
I like it. Set up a game-winning Gargoyle.
Yep. Seems pretty strong.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably didn't want that to happen. Okay. So what is he going to do? All right, back to my story about Hans. So we sit down to eat, and I make my play, and Hans doesn't play for a while. This is turn 1, right? And finally my daughter's just staring at it. The whole time she's like, Daddy, I want to watch the game. Like, no problem. She's just staring at it intently. The drama's building and building, and it's just turn 1. And finally she's like, why won't he play, Daddy? Why won't Hans play his cards? I was like, well, honey, Hans is well known for thinking very, very carefully about his plays, and it takes him a little while. Don't worry, he'll play his cards. And he finally plays his card. And then, a little while more goes by for his next turn. And now my wife's getting into the business, right? She's like, I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening. What's taking him so long? It's like, well, Hans is a careful player. He's being very careful. And so my wife and daughter start theorizing as to what is wrong with Hans. And so my wife is like, well, maybe he's blind. And like he can't see the stuff. And then I can't remember, my daughter had some crazy theory. And then my wife was like, he probably has a learning disability. Oh, and then my daughter's like, he's new to the game. He has to read all of the cards. And I was like, I really don't think any of those are true. I think he's just very thorough and careful in his planning. But it was a very entertaining lunch as they yelled at the iPad the whole time, and Hans, and I was sort of defending Hans's, lengthy thought process. So it was an enjoyable lunch had by all.
For sure. That's hilarious.
So Hans has his beloved Thundersword 2, but it cannot kill the Matrix Warden, and so this means the Matrix Warden will get to trade with it if he sticks it in front of him. So the question is, does he do that? I mean, with that 3.1 that, or not 3.1, but with that level 3 that Weevil had, with that Gargoyle 3, he's just so menacing. I mean, he pretty much has win on the board unless he can't find any pump. So,
yeah, he doesn't need very much damage at this point.
Right, so what can Hans do to prevent this? I mean, because basically, okay, so there's an idea. Go over, you block him. I don't understand what that was about. It doesn't kill him, but it clogs the lane.
It kills it next turn.
But Gargoyle still can move. And then what's his other play? Is it to Thundersword or is it to Gargoyle?
I would honestly say go with the Gargoyle because it can control your lanes better.
I mean, you could go Strategist and just kill that Matrix Warden right here, right now.
You could. That might be better. Like, the Gargoyle's hitting you next turn anyways, no matter what.
Right.
No matter what card you play.
You're kind of just relying on something bad not happening at this point. All right, so we're going to do this giveaway since we're just about done. And then we're going to move on to our DCG roundup. So here we go. Gear checks are different or something. He is the winner. He is a follower of the stream, and he is also a winner today. Winner, winner.
Congratulations,
Chicken
sir.
Dinner.
Chicken dinner.
All right.
And so we know, looking at EvilWeevil's hand, that he actually has lethal.
Yeah, he's got the win, and he takes it.
Oh.
And EvilWeevil.
Not actually how I expected him to take the win. I thought he was just going to botanimate the Vault Blockade.
EvilWeevil
But either way.
takes the win. Another day as the champion of the Forge. Let us bring on our champion, crown him, and tell him how amazing he is. Start with his song. Alright, EvilWeevil. Despite connection issues and all sorts of problems, you managed to take down Hans. How do you feel, sir?
Feels pretty good. When do I stop being the underdog?
Never.
Hey, hang on a second. Who picked EvilWeevil to win the match?
No one, because your picks don't count. So, But congratulations, man. You are the 2-time reigning champion of the Forge. Just crushing. You know what? You have crushed Zrandals and Hans in back-to-back weeks. I mean, those are like 2 of the biggest names in Solforge history. Does this mean EvilWeevil, we just have no choice but to call him the, quote, best player in Solforge?
I don't know.
That's what I
tall thing.
I mean, we might have to. Like, we might not have a choice in the matter at this point.
Am I the first 3-time Forge champion?
Oh my goodness, you might be. I don't know. I'll have to look through. But I believe since Zrandals had one snatched away from him by the jaws of destiny, I can't imagine anyone else has 3 wins. So yeah, I think we're just gonna say it. Congratulations, 3-time winner of the Forge, EvilWeevil 666.
Thank you.
And what do you think of your play today? Are you happy with your plays that you made today?
Yeah, I made 2 misplays in the last game, actually. I shouldn't have blocked this battle tech. I knew it was the strategist plus Warmonger mod. And then I made one smaller one towards the end that I don't remember what it was right now, to be honest.
Alright.
But I thought I played well in the rest of the games. You're wrong about the Warmonger mod on that Vault Blockade, but...
Oh yeah, I'll have to go look at the tape.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if I clog the lanes or not, because he just plays Thundersword in a different lane. Like, it does not matter. If he has Thundersword double Warmonger there's nothing I can do to not lose.
Yeah, I mean, you're never not going to lose to Thundersword double Warmonger, man. That's true. That is a valid point.
That's just how it works.
But I thought I played the other games well. I sort of, he was spamming Thundersword, and I stuck to my game plan, which is not... I don't prioritize Thundersword that highly.
Yeah, it seemed like it was working very well, and in most of the games, it won didn't it even win a game for you, or even 2 of the games?
I don't believe it really did. I had one game, I think it might have been one of the ones I lost, where I played a lot of Thunderswords.
Yeah, and then you did have the one you won. You had 2 Gargoyle 2s and the Thundersword 2, and you could say it was the Gargoyle 2s, but it was also the Thundersword, right? Because you couldn't handle them all.
I think it was the Gargoyles. I'm going to say it was the Gargoyles. I mean, yes, you couldn't handle it all, but I think I win anyway.
You know what? I'm going to learn my lesson here. I'm not going to disagree with the 3-time Forge champion. Not just 3 wins. 3 wins, 0 losses. That's pretty impressive, dude. You know how many more wins that is than Jake has on the Forge? That's 3 more.
Well, hang on now. Jake isn't even allowed to compete on the Forge.
That may be, but that's besides the point. That's more wins than we have combined on the Forge.
You're right, but I really blame you for that. You're holding us back.
That's true. All right, EvilWeevil, thank you so much for coming by for another edition of the Forge.
Thanks.
Stay tuned in a moment. I'm going to go offline, and I'll be right back with the digital card game roundup. And until next week, we'll see you again for another episode of the Forge, where 2 enter, 1 leaves champion, and 1 leaves beaten, battered, bruised.